boosters. It's true.
This is kind of cool, actually. I really enjoy this. This is something new. I like it. Yeah, no, I'm not missing out on time building my pool. So sorry, dude. Blood Ogre, Midnight Banshee. You recording? Remand, I'll take it. Go team.
Skills. Nice. Oh wait, no, it's Midnight Banshee. That's not skills. What? Oh, okay. Hello everyone, welcome to the Modern Masters. I guess it's a pre-release in some way. We have a sealed event here. Pre-release. We have it's just a release. We have a sealed event here as F&M, part of Modern Masters release, and we have Dan Gilligan here.
Howdy.
On stream, he's going to be building his sealed deck for us and talking us through some of his picks, some of his more interesting cards. My name's Eamon Jones. I'll be your commentator for tonight and your host as well. So
it was nearly foil gold. I thought it was so close. It was so.
It has an X, man. That's not a green and a one.
It was green and foil. You know what I'm saying? It was close.
And so of course with this set, there's a lot of money coming up. I mean,
well,
people are really interested.
No, don't be fooled. Not in this. Don't be fooled. There's not a lot of money here, but potentially there's a lot of money.
Yeah, absolutely. So is there? What are you looking at? What colour so far?
So far,
You've got Vapor Stag, Mana Leak, Remand, so you've got a bit of a tempo package.
Yeah, basically what I want to do right now is just get my Daybreak Karna, put it right there, and I want unplayable exactly. No, I want to just get everything down. I'm not actually putting any attention to what I'm doing here. I'm literally putting things in colours and as quickly as I possibly can. Don't waste time. I'll take 2 lands there. That's not too bad. You want to just get everything out, so you give yourself time where you can sit down and start looking at your actual cards. Don't waste time looking and going, we're here. The most amount of time possible. So very quickly, just get these colours here. And notice I'm very pedantic and I'm sorting by, white, blue, black, thing.
Ruberg. Dan is also in preparation. He's going to GPU Direct, so he wants to get as much hands-on prep with the cards as well.
No real money rare apart from what do you call them? The enchantments, which won't be a money rare this time next week.
Yeah, exactly.
There's like 5 people total who actually want to play that awful white green deck as modern, and once they have their play sets off that card, then no one's going to want it anymore. So that'll be up online tonight for about €2 cheaper than everyone else has it, and hopefully I'll get rid of it as soon as possible. So basically, after I get all my colours in one pool here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I'm going to start putting piles of playables and non playables, start just getting the cards as quickly as I can. So cards I want in my main deck, I'll generally be I'm not delighted about certain cards like this, but if they're just, it's a playable card in the main deck. I'm going to put stuff like a posse blessing to the side because unless I get certain deck, so
some lands and maybe Ringo for yourself.
Yeah, some overlays, surprise, caveats, and all these type of cards. He's fine. You don't really want cards like this. Basically, I'm going to be discounting the white fairly quickly. Maybe as a splash, chuck the O-ring on the Sunland.
That's from a million years ago, isn't it?
It's the 6th edition Gamers Edition. I posted that sexy leather messenger bag I saw on Etsy.
Yeah.
And Dan Kelly was like, well, I have one of these.
Yeah, there's
a lot of synergies. So I haven't really found blue to be. When you look at a deck, when you open it, you have some cards, you have an appeal, you have a Vapor Snag, you have like a.
I'll remember later.
Somebody have a deck, and it's the same story.
There better not be a deck.
Maybe play Mana Leak, maybe play like a Gamersworld or whatever.
I had something. I have to show them to.
Maybe play it if you need a playable, but
if your deck's low to the ground, you might play it.
You open blue and you see this type of stuff all the time.
And you're like, what do I do?
Yeah. So, blue looks okay there. It has the Argent Sphinx, which is just generally good, even outside an artifact deck. It's like a 4-3 But then you start opening black and you start seeing cards like Tifa Hope and you see a deck. You see more so a deck in black than you do.
You're not a fan of Fascicular?
He's fine, yeah, he's fine. Nameless Inversion is quality, and with the Tifa Hope, of course, works very well. We have Scuttling Death here, Midnight Banshee. There's a little bit of a team with the spirits there, so they're certainly not good from Vampire. I don't love that unless it's in the right deck, it's amazing, otherwise it's not great.
Having two might be as well.
Yeah, so
I especially like as well the Shrivel. They have a lot of really good sideboard cards against certain decks. I mean, the green white tokens deck is a big one, so just having a Shrivel to fight against that if you're black is pretty nice.
Shrivel actually looks to be an excellent card in this format in the sideboard. I don't think I'd love to have it in the main deck, but the sideboard looks great.
Sure.
So you have drawing me to this would be
not a fan of the Tribal Flames?
in the right deck, yes. Otherwise, you don't like I don't love it. You know, like there's plenty of playables here. Gorhorn, Minotaurs. This guy. These are playable. These are all absolute cards. I don't love the elementals. From what I've seen so far in building pools, I think elementals just looks like it's a kind of a, like if you get them all, it's great. You know, you've got a couple cards there that look really good. You can ramp that kind of stuff. But in general, I think if you've got one of these decks, it's kind of 50-50. It's like half an elementals deck, half a kind of just play the rest of the cards in my colours. I think you're playing a lot of weak cards.
Okay, that's
so this is a block. That's a card that I really want to play. This guy seems fine to me. He looks good in the right deck. Same with this guy. No, yes, no, not really. No, yes, no.
Not a fan of the mutagenic growth and rampant growth?
No, not really. Mutagenic growth in all but the right deck I don't love. Rampant growth in the right deck is fine. You know, we've got a Sylvan Bounty here for a 5-color deck as well. And seriously, I've opened probably 100, maybe even 200 sealed pools now at this stage, and 80% of those decks have been 5-color ramped in my best spells. So, you know, I've got a couple spells in there. I've got a Fiery Fall, which is a basic land cycle. I've got the green one that does the same as well. So let's see what sort of multicolour cards I have here now. This guy's fine. Probably fairly decent. This guy apparently is very good. I never played with the card. In an aggressive deck, this looks unbelievable. 3 mana 4/4. In the exact right deck, this looks good. This is obviously incredible. And then you've got Swans here, which is a 4 mana 4-power flyer, which is usually very good, but could be a liability as well. So you have to keep that in mind. And then this guy looks to be very good to me as well, which is a 3 mana graft guy, and you get some kind of proliferate abilities there.
Especially with that foaming bird, and you see as well Wither as a mechanic.
Absolutely.
Wither graft, and there's some charge counter things as well with foaming bird.
So one of the first things I usually do as well is go to my round in my artifacts, which I have an Everflown Chalice, a Wayfarer's Bauble, and an Alloy Mirror at the moment here, which is decent. That's not too bad considering I have 2 Evolving Wilds, and I also have a green land. You like to see a green land as well. Usually green as your base colour for a round deck works quite well. 2 red cards there as well. So red-green is generally your domain deck. It's your 5-color ramped good stuff deck, and I've got 2 red spells and 1 red-green. So
and you've got the Tribal Flames as well.
I do have the Tribal Flames as well, which is nice. So in the artifacts as well, we have kind of the basis of, you know, we've got a couple of rune servitors here, some. We have an Edge Champion as well if we really wanted to go that kind of direction for an artifact deck. 1 Mirror Enforcer here, but I'm going to quite quickly discount that aggressive artifact deck, so I don't believe I'm going to really want any of this stuff here. Clean Taco Idols, Ghost Skimmers, Rune Servitors. I could probably put all that stuff to the side. The Edge Champion as well, Mirror Enforcer, Kite Sail. Basically, probably don't want any of that. I'd imagine if I'm going to be playing a 5-color round deck, I'll probably want to do a lot of squisher at the top end for if I'm going to be running as well. So, straight away, my opinion of this pool, as most, it's going to be a 5-color round deck. I don't have a huge amount of power at the top of my curve, which is a problem. Usually you want something like, you know, say for example, you get the Niv Missive, you get, you know, a bomb, just any bomb. You want like a card, you want even the
big 6-7 mana.
You want a big spell that's just going to have a huge impact on the game, and I don't really believe I have anything like that.
Besides
so I have 1 Ulamog's Crusher here, which is okay. But for that reason alone, it may be that I can't actually build that 5-color deck. I have some of the kind of ways of the enablers, and I don't really have the finishers. So I'm going to first of all try build that 5-color deck, just because I didn't really see another deck come out in front of me, and if the 5-color deck doesn't come together, it's hard looking at some other synergies as well. So I'm just going to very quickly throw down a few spells here and see how it looks. Maybe you want to round into the Swans here, something like that. Necrogenesis could be a thing.
Well, the problem is a lot of your ramp is also, a lot of your artifact ramp is 3 mana, so you have that awkward point of ramping into Swans isn't going to be great.
Yeah, it's not great at all. Like, I'd only play this if I was like, say, heavy blue or white in my 5-color deck. So I believe I'm going to be green here. We've got a couple of reasonable green cards. Like, straight away, my opinion on this pool is this is not a good pool. I don't think I've opened well here at all. I think if this is my first opinions at the Grand Prix next week, I'm going to be quite disappointed before I build a single thing. But sure, we'll throw it all out and see how it looks.
Sure. My feeling on it as well, the thing that I might be looking at is maybe a kind of a blue-red kind of tempo deck. I mean, you've got Hatchling as well, which is pretty good. You can have Swans, you can turn your Lightning Bolt into an Ancestral Recall. That's kind of living the dream.
Yeah.
And as well, you've got your 2 red Karoo lands, so you can keep that doesn't work the best with your counter spells. But
yeah, we have this is probably the best card in my deck, or in my pool, should I say. You know, on first glance, I think my overwhelming stampede is great, but I don't really have the creatures. I have a couple of convoke. I have kind of cards at the top of the curve with the convoke guy here to scatter the seeds. I've got a few, like I have the Scion of the Wilds. I have the payoff cards, but I don't really have the enablers. I've got like this guy's no good really here at the bottom of the curve. I've got a Thrive again. It's a bit of a kind of a payoff card in a sense as well. It's not an enabler. You want just the Nest Invader. You want the Cosmic Spread. You want all that kind of stuff. I've one Scatter the Seeds here, but you really want the kind of 2 and 3s to kind of build up to a Scatter the Seeds as well, which I don't really have.
So you only have one Raise the Alarm here.
Yeah. So the tokens deck as such isn't there, meaning the Sign of the Wild's probably not great either. Green thing may be going on here. We'll see what else is going on. I have the green blue guy here as well, so green blue as a deck could be something to consider. I do have the Urgent Sphinx there, which is kind of power more than you know, you play him as a power 4/3 rather than Metalcraft kind of thing. Absolutely. You don't worry so much about Metalcraft. So if I'm playing Troll deck, I probably want just Vapor Snag as a removal spell. Aether Snipe for sure. We can play him as 3 there if he's a Stoker, but maybe you want to play a Mana Leak. I love any of the rest of the stuff there. If I'm green blue, I could potentially play this guy as well. If I'm heavy green as well, Celestial Guildmage is fine. If you even have one way to splash the white, maybe you can like you play this guy in a heavy green deck as a double green, just making tokens for sure. And maybe if you play him, then you can talk about playing planes with the evolving.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's very good. So you'd be splashing an O-ring here, maybe splashing this card as well.
I'm also noticing with your artifacts, you might have the potentials of a kind of a blue-white skies deck, effectively, with some of your count spells, some
possibly,
of your removal,
possibly.
And you get to play 2 Glinthawks. You get to play what's the one that pay 1 blue, 2/1 to give it flying? The Piker.
Yeah, the other guy there, the artifact guy.
Yeah,
I forgot what he's called. He's one of in there. What is he?
2 Glinthawk and the.
He's a Gust Skimmer.
Gust Skimmer.
Yeah.
Like, you could have a skies deck there. Might be a thing.
So let me have a look here at. This wouldn't be in a ramp deck. So, Overwhelming Stampede is not great in the ramp deck either. These type of green cards aren't great either. So, I don't really love the look of the ramp deck that I'm building here. The removal is okay. It's a bit conditional and it's a bit kind of colour heavy on the low end of my curve as well. You don't have too many. You have a lightning bolt there, but you want kind of unconditional removal in a deck like this. You've got Tribal Flames here, but a lot of 1 or 2 mana removal here. If very good on turn 1 or turn 2. If you don't have them, then if you're kind of waiting for a splash, they become a lot less powerful later in the game. So I have a feeling that this deck has not really come together here. I don't really have the finishers for it. I have a funny feeling that I'm going to have to get a bit more focused here and look at trying to.
A 2-color, maybe.
Yeah, get a bit more concise here. Maybe look at playing something like a Midnight Banshee. I have a bit of an aggressive deck in red here, which could be a thing. Not brilliant. Like I said, I don't actually think this is a very good pool. So I think I'm going to go back to maybe looking at green here with the Overwhelming Stampede and see where I can go from there.
Yeah. It's funny as well, there's certain things I've noticed. There's little things like the Swans of Argyle are actually spirits. So if you use your Scuttling Death and it dies, you can get back your Swans, which is always sweet. I think that it's actually, I think people's knee-jerk reaction to this was that it's more open than the last Modern Master said. It wasn't as, I think you have to kind of work for it. I think this is actually going to be a really deep set, one you have to really, like, the last set you kind of draft them once and you know exactly what's going on. I feel like this one's going to reward people who, really dig deep into it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I'm going to get my blue out here, and I'm going to start again. There's a lot going on with this pool. I don't really have any one particular colour that looks like I need to play it. There's some good finishers here in blue, so I have a feeling I will be playing blue here. I'm going to try to get a blue deck out and see what it looks like. This is the way I usually like to build my pools, where I get my best colour out and then look at what is this deck missing, what does it complement, how does this deck work with the other colours in my pool as well. So I've got 2 kind of okay spells here, kind of bounce spells, can buy a bit of time. I've got 2 decent finishers at the top of my curve. I have an Aether Snipe, which is very good as well here, and then potentially Thrumming Bird in the right deck is good. It'll go with the Helium Squirter here as well, which is a fine card. Mana Leak as well. I don't love Remand, but it can go there if it has to. Maybe I can play the Graph Mage with the Thrumming Bird thing here as well. And I've got a Fairy Mechanist. Do we actually have 15 minutes left?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're going to have to. So you're liking the Shrewd Hatchling as well. Clearly benefiting more from a red-blue deck.
Yeah, let's see if I can get a red-blue deck together here. So,
Yeah, just kind of an aggressive tempo-based deck.
yeah, this doesn't look like it's coming together either, unfortunately. Gorehorn Minotaurs here. None of that stuff is great. Tribal Flames potentially if I'm splashing.
If you're making an aggressive deck, especially with some flyers, Blades of Veil's Veil mightn't actually be too bad.
I don't love it.
Sure.
Maybe it's playable, but I don't love it. I can play here maybe Sickle Slicer, play Gust Skimmer as well. He makes some mana for Elemental, Beast Maiden, not brilliant here.
If I remember, you do not play this card ever.
1, 2, well, you know, when you're stuck for playables, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20. That's not a great deck either. It's lacking playables. Let's have a look at the black here. Midnight Banshee's going down. Bone Splitters and Still Infection. This isn't great either. Let's take the red out. I'm probably going to have to play that Sickle Slicer either way here. I don't have a lot of playables in my pool, so you know it's very likely that I'm just going to have to play it. Bone Splitters. Yeah, this is really bad. I got pretty unlucky.
Played the lotto, got a goy.
Hey, our producer,
Had a 6 packs of
our
goy.
producer Alex opened the goif, so that's excellent.
This doesn't look to be great either, the deck that I have here in front of me.
Sure, if I check out the white there, I just want to see.
I'm thinking about going now to something like a white-green deck. I'm going to try it out. I've got 2 white-green cards in my pool. Sorry, man, can you just
Yeah,
give me them
absolutely.
because I'm in a rush here. I need to just move through my decks very quickly if I can.
That's where actually, well, maybe not Yu-Gi-Oh!
Magic Insane Money way strips out Yu-Gi-Oh! Insane Money. Why, what's the most expensive Yu-Gi-Oh! card? Yu-Gi-Oh! What is it?
Overwhelming Stampede, Scatter the Seeds.
So you can see as well you're missing like some of the ones, the Predator, Kozak's Predator, things like that, those green cards that people really like.
Yeah, I can play the Glinthawk Idols if I play white, so that's one reason to get into a deck like this. Do I have any sort of equipment here? I've got 1 kite sail. It's not really a reason to want to play the Tajnal Swordsmith or the.
I think with the benefit of green as well, you can do something like you can play the Gruul Turf, the 2 Evolving Wilds, and the Rampant Growth, and be able to splash some red cards maybe for that Lightning Bolt and something else, or maybe some blue cards. I think with the 2 Evolving Wilds, Rampant Growth, you do have the potential to be a 3-color deck with the.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to be honest.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean.
2021. Yeah, this is bad. Like, this is a bad deck that I have in front of me for sure. I'm playing stuff like Thrive, Multiple Thrive, and Mutagenic Growth, and I've got very few creatures. I'm playing a Sunspear Shikiri here with no equipment in my deck. So this 1 Sickle Slicer I believe I had hanging around. That's actually gone wherever that Sickle Slicer is gone in here. So this would have to be played. But this is just a bad deck.
Sure.
I don't see anything that stands out to me here as playable. Like, I put out the 5-color deck, I didn't have the bombs to ramp into. I had a bit of ramp, but I didn't really have anything that was worth playing. I put out black, no color. I've kind of roughly the same amount of cards in each color and roughly the same amount of playables in each color. So
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to be 3 colors, but I don't really see any synergies. I could play maybe blue, black with green, and then I could splash for some of the Proliferate. Could be a thing, I guess.
Yeah. That might be something.
Oh dear. Okay, let's try. Commune with nature.
Yeah.
So maybe taking out the white here. Not being able to pick up my cards doesn't help. Ashimar Gouger is just, he's got so heavy black commitment as well. Splashing for, so green black, green blue maybe, splashing for black could be a thing. Black cards, I don't want any of them. The top of my curve, this extremely heavy black spell. This is not looking promising. Splashing for what? Playing heavy blue cards as well. This is a disaster. This guy here as well. Play this guy. Suppose I play him. I definitely play him. Play these two cards here as well.
And you have the rampant growth there as well.
Rampant growth I'd probably have to play.
Absolutely. If you're playing on any sort of 3-colour deck, you're going to be leaning pretty heavy on the 2 evolving wilds and the rampant growth.
Yeah. The Talid, because he gives me a counter at the, you know, it's not great, but it's
a dude. Yeah. He is just a worse. Oh, what's the name of that card? The.
Do you know what time the draft starts tomorrow?
It starts at 11. Yeah, the Talid is just a worse. What's the one white one? Traveller from Innistrad, Doom Traveller. Yeah.
okay. So that's a lot of cards. So I'd have to cut him. He's just unreasonable completely.
Sure.
The Talid is very bad. The card's just bad. So let's get rid of him. Commune with nature. There's just a lot of bad cards still in this deck. A lot of very bad cards. Gust Skimmer, Glinthawk, Idols with the white. I don't even have white in my deck anymore, so these would have to go. Gust things, Sickle Slicer, Aider Snipe. Like, what am I actually proliferating here? I have very little to proliferate as well. This is just really bad. Overwhelming Stampede, Scatter the Seed, Spread the Sickness, Root Canale. If this might just be something like this, might just be the best I have access to, and this is very poor.
Right now you've cut 4 cards. I don't like the Instill Infection. I don't think that's which one of you.
No, I was putting it in there for the proliferate, but I don't even have a lot of proliferate in the deck. I have 1, 2. As well, so we'll be splashing for basically nameless inversion and spread the sickness here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2, 26. So if I put the black all together, how does this deck actually look? Does this even appear to be a deck? 3% human nature, woman's advance from me. This is garbage. This is utter garbage.
Yeah, your Shrewd Hatchling is pretty bad, especially if you don't have that many blue spells.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, utter garbage. Fairy Mechanist doesn't really do anything with this deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 23. It's 23 cards. I'm just not sure I can do any better than this. Like, believe me, this is not something that I'm happy to register for the thing. I have a Helium Squirter here, which will be in the deck. Actually, I guess I'm missing a few cards here. Anand's Routine, I can take out a Rampant Growth and add those cards. Maybe. Kite Sail, does this do anything in my deck? Do I have any big fatties that I need to get over the top? Maybe I do.
You have a Nullimox Crusher if you want to play that.
I don't love Nullimox Crusher in this deck either. I'm not really ramping into anything. Flash Free, Steady Progress, Fairy Mechanist, none of these are cards that do anything really in my deck. I mean, Stoic Rebuttal's actually okay. I don't think I'd want to play both of these. I think I'd probably just play this. Maybe I actually just play the Stoic Rebuttal instead.
It's just a straight up counterspell.
It is a straight up counterspell. Yeah.
Sometimes might be a cancel might be a counterspell sometimes.
It's 25, so I still need to cut at least one card here.
Probably the Shrewd Hatchling, you don't have that many blue spells.
Yeah, I have. I can get him to what? He comes in with 4 counters, get him to a 3/3. See, the target creature can't block him. It's not
It's not terrible, but sure. I guess you do have 10 blue spells, which isn't too bad. Yeah, we only have 5 minutes left of the time. 24. Okay. Maybe the kite sail, it's pretty...
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I left it sitting there and I thought it out.
Kite sail is not great in this deck either.
Actually, I'd probably put in the kite sail instead of the sickle slicer.
Sickle Slicer, it's a guy. It's a 3-mana 2/2, and I can put it on a guy. I can put it on the flyer and just bump him. Sickle Slicer is not good, but it's fine here.
Sure.
I don't think I'll be cutting this. I do not have the deck to be able to cut this. Like, this deck is literally ramp and draw Overwhelming Stampede every game, and I just need to play guys for that reason. Okay. I don't see any other way for this deck to win, and I don't really see any other pool to build out of any other deck to build out of this pool, though I will most certainly be going back and checking this pool. I'm actually going to play one of these. If I'm playing the Trumming Bird, I think I'm going to play a Thrive here, and what I might actually do, Vines of Aswood. I don't really have any creatures that I need to particularly protect. Vines of Aswood is okay. I think I'll cut Immune with Nature. Sure. Definitely going to be playing at least one Plains here to fetch with the Selesnya Guild Mage. Stoic Rebuttal here versus Remand and Mana Leak. I think actually I'm going to splash O-Ring and
Sunlance.
I think I might just be O-Ring.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, Sunlance actually. I think I'm going to splash them both. I'm going to play 2 Plains and splash them both.
Now here's the question. Will you be playing the Gruul Turf? As it is one of your colours and
I think I will, yeah. 24. So I added 1 Thrive there to be able to
use with
the Thrumming Bird, yeah, exactly. So I'm going to splash 1, 2, scatter the seeds. All of these cards are pretty fine here at the top of the curve. None of them are great, but they're playable. This isn't great. Sickle Slicer, of course, isn't great. I have an Alloymere there to help with the white splash as well. So I need to cut 1 card here to get down to 23. Probably Mutagenic Growth or Vines of Basswood.
I reckon it's the Mutagenic Growth. Vines of Basswood can protect one of your creatures, which you are so dependent on. Like, a green shock effectively is not great.
23, okay. So this is going to be the deck.
Okay, so you just need to get your lands and start sleeving up.
Yeah.
So,
I have absolutely no idea, man. It took me that long to build the deck. I have no idea what I want to call it. I'm going to call it a big pile, and if I win a game, I'm going to be very delighted. That's the name of the deck.
The deck will look good, but I can't play any of my good rares. I know. That means you can't damage them while you're playing that.
Did you open that in useful, Liv? What did you get? Goif? Not bad.
Foil?
Not bad.
Must be nice.
Keeping it real.
Better lucky than good.
Yeah. Anyone here?
Yeah. I got a bit of luck. You know that? I'm a bit overdue at this stage.
That's of our local curmudgeonly
curmudgeonly
player.
I'm missing a land here. Did you do something with one of the lands here?
Sure, I put some of the lands here. The other land you had was the
Oh, it was the Rakdos. Okay, that's no good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. I'm going to play 17 land here, so I need to play 14. I'm going to play
some amount of plains.
One plains. Yeah, this was a difficult build. I'm not at all certain that I got this right. I'd say I got this at least slightly wrong, if not very wrong.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. Nothing stood out to me. As you saw, I was all over the place trying to find anything that looked like a right configuration, and nothing seemed to work. So that's 4, and I need to make 13 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I've got a double green here, so I want to go a little bit heavier on the green as well. I've got some things here, more double green here, so for 13, so go slightly more green, I will go 7 and 6.
Yeah, that seems fair. Okay. So
this will probably be my build unless I have to make any last changes here to the mana base.
Yeah, that's all good.
I have no real reason. I've double blue here at the top of my curve, but 6 still seems fine, I think. I also have the green here, like I'm much heavier on the green itself, so I've got the Scion, I've got the Silesia Guild Mage here, and I've got the Gruul Turf, so 7 plus 6 here I think is going to be good enough. Again, this isn't even a good mana base. The deck doesn't even have a good mana base, let alone good cards, so this is a disaster. Train wreck. Not something I would be happy with at Utrecht next weekend, for sure.
It's fine. Outplay people. That's how you're gonna win.
That's the plan.
And this is also something I love with this, with these supplemental sets. Is sometimes they give you the tokens because we're trying to get them together for the cube. So
Yeah.
I might rob this if you're not looking for it.
Yeah, go ahead, man. No problem.
I don't see you playing Bitter Blossom anytime
No,
soon.
pity I can't play this troll. The rare that makes this
Edric
troll is unbeatable.
Yeah.
That's the card I actually want to open. Something like that.
Yeah. But anyway, there you go. Good luck anyway, man.
Thanks,
Hopefully it all works out for you.
It won't. The spoiler alert here, everyone. It's not going to work out for me.
We might see. We might get back to you later. See if you rebuild the deck in subsequent rounds.
Yeah.
See if anything comes up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm going to quickly sleeve up here while I have a bit of a chance, so don't mind me.
No problem. I'm going to take a small break and then we'll... actually, no, I'm just going to jump right into the booth and we'll start doing the commentary on round 1.
Alright.
So, yeah, back in a bit.
Yeah. Am I playing here? Oh, am I? Okay.
Because you did the deck.
Yeah, it seems fair.
What's the value?
Shocking. My deck is terrible, the value is awful.
For me, it's Emrakul and Korn.
Yeah, I got a Coronet. I got a Coronet and I got a Raman, so not the absolute end of the world, but...
Guess who usually opening insane value?
Who's doing?
I don't know.
Who's featured round 1 more?
Greg, did he, yeah?
Who's featured round 1?
He what?
Cryptic or Remand, Leyline, Science and
Not bad.
Yeah, just throw in the big zip on the back.
My deck is garbage, so it was really hard to build and it's garbage.
What'd you go for? Like graft?
Graft splashing, yeah.
I'm going for like grafts, tokens.
I don't have a graph deck though. I'm kidding myself here. Like this is not a real deck. This is a pile.
You're now muted, so feel free to swear.
Yeah.
Did you unmute?
I muted the mic.
Hi.
I just put the mic on.
Where there?
How's it going, dude? How's your deck? Yes. Mine is terrible.
Full disclosure, says mine.
Yeah. Mine is awful. I did a pool here on.
How much?
Yeah, you are live.
Excellent. Okay, so we are here for round 1. It is going to be Dan Gilligan versus who's his opponent? Mr. X. We'll find out.
Good question.
I
think he said Niall.
Niall, okay.
Where he kind of half said it to me as he's walking.
Excellent. I will get back to him, but we're going to see now. Now, Dave C, you were overlooking Dan's build. My personal feeling on it was I felt like there might have been a red-blue deck or maybe a blue-white skies deck. A tempo skies deck.
I think the problem is you can't really get away from his green. He has overrun, you know. He is overrun in Guild Mage. And it's very hard to get away from both those cards, especially in combination with each other.
Sure.
I found it's very weird looking around the room, and I've been playing this game for way too long, but the advantage some of the older players have over the newer players, just getting to know.
Niall Smith.
Niall Smith.
Niall Smith is
he's aptly named his deck. I got nothing. Mostly because Murray pressured him for a deck name, so that's what we have.
Awesome. So yeah, you were saying looking around the room.
Some older players have a slight advantage in this format. Of course, skill always shines through, but some people not knowing that certain cards are good and limited.
or certain types and things like that.
For example, I'm pretty high on Mortarpod, and that's because I've played with Mortarpod. When a lot of people look at the card now,
it looks unplayable.
Not unplayable, but they assume you need the tokens deck, or that you need a bunch of predators and the Eldrazi guys.
Sure.
You don't. It's just a really good card. If it ever kills a creature, it's excellent, because now it's a card that kills a creature, buffs your creatures, and threatens to ping them to death. It's just a very good card. A few other things, like I've seen people unsure if Artisan of Kozilek is playable or stuff like that, or Crusher, and again, these are people that didn't play when Rise of Eldrazi was a set.
Sure.
And don't know, because they know that Ulamog's unplayable, they also think that Artisan only at 2 less mana is unplayable, but he's actually
very playable, extremely
good. Crusher being
the middle ground, you need a little bit of work for it, but it's still fine.
Crusher is pretty excellent. Anything that isn't the big three, just the big three aren't playable, and what's going to happen is the same thing that happened in Rise. All these people are going to get excited, they're going to have their Ulamog in their deck, they think it's going to be fun. It's not fun sitting with an uncastable card in your hand for
if I get my Emrakul on the field, how could I lose?
Yeah, I had to talk someone out of playing an Emrakul tonight. It's just like, it's fun. I'm like, it's not fun having an unplayable card in your hand. It's just doesn't work. But a few very good decks around the room, and it's going to be an interesting night.
My feeling was I really like the suite of counter spells that Dan had. And as well, I liked some of the flyers, so that was my initial gut reaction of what I could do, maybe splashing red.
Yeah, for sure. The format seems to be have really good mana.
Yeah.
And I know some people were making the comment that you have to go 5 colour, and I don't see it as much as you have to, or 3 or 4 colour, whatever you want to say.
It's just you can.
You can. It's very easy to. It turns these commons like the Manta into, instead of a okay card, into
5 mana, 4/4 flying,
into a busted card, into a Sarah Angel, and you're just making the most out of your cards. I've been watching a couple of the pros played on Magic Online. They import deck lists to play against each other, and it's just really advantageous to have 2 solid colours and be splashing every other good card you have, because it's so easy.
Yeah, no, that seems fair. Which is what Dan came to a conclusion with tonight. Of his, he's got a green-blue deck splashing white for Sunlance and Oblivion Ring. Sunlance, pretty good card, and he's going to be throwing it back. Yeah,
down to 6 here.
This is the dangers that he's kind of these 3 cost spells as well. Dan doesn't have kind of the bombs to really.
No, it's just the overrun. It's why I would have, if I think I was Dan, I was saying Teamer when I was looking over his shoulder. I just think you need to make advantage of that overrun in your deck.
Sure.
His red removal was fine. Having a Bolt and a Tribal Flames when you're 3 colours is pretty good.
Absolutely.
So. I don't know though. It's hard to say without knowing the format. I just know these old cards and how they were in their individual sets. It's always hard to say what new.
Are we going to see?
This seems more reasonable. It's a bounce land plus a normal land. It doesn't. Does he have blue?
Sure. No.
No, starting off with Mountain here.
Evolving.
Oh, and an Evolving Wilds. His mana seems to be pretty set.
Yeah, good draw off the top as well. Funny enough, because he's going second and mulliganed down. Playing the Karoo land means you won't have to discard.
Yeah. Karoo lands are excellent. Originally, when they were printed, they were a common.
Yes.
And it took a very long time for the Magic community to realise how busted they were. Like, we got to a level of where professional players were saying take it over anything that isn't best uncommons and commons in the set, and that's why I feel they're uncommon this time.
Sure. Because
the format got really bad when people just realised you can take 4 or 5 Karoo lands before drafting.
And then just have an excellent deck with card advantage on your lands.
Yeah, as you pointed out, he's pretty much negated a mulligan here.
Yes.
Because he has a Karoo land. They're just so excellent. Most people are saying that as long as you have 1 colour in your Karoo lands, you should be playing it in the seal deck.
Yeah.
And there's nearly no limit to how many you should play either.
Yeah.
Like, people are scared once they go beyond 3, but I'd play 4 or 5 in my decks.
Yeah. So we can see Niall here, he's playing the white-black Karoo land. Now this kind of shows as well that he, once again, we don't know, he mightn't be playing Esper, he might just be having a... Actually no, sorry, he had red.
Yeah, he had red.
So
4 colours so far.
Yeah, definitely. Or, here's the thing as well, there is...
Dan activating the flying at end of turn.
Yeah, of course. There is actually this kind of thing of, the pros are kind of saying, play every single Karoo land you can, and some people might take that to heart. I think it's every one that you have at least 1 colour in.
Yeah, there's some talk if you're this slow grindy deck that you might play double off colour one, but sometimes they're so bad in your openers.
Yeah.
Another comment I had on Dan's building when he was doing it again. it's because he didn't play the cards when they're around. He dismissed Glinthawk idols really fast.
Yes.
When he went through them, because he didn't have enough artifacts. And that would be your reaction if you played the pre-release of Scars of Mirrodin. The card is just, if you're in white, you're playing as many Glinthawk idols as you have. You know?
So I really like Glinthawk idol a lot. I think it's a great card. And but see here as well, I feel like a lot of players, because it's the start of the format, it's really deep. I feel like there's a lot of build to it. People aren't sure what to do, and so I want to try and prey on that kind of thought. Like we can see, Niall's doing a lot of dirtling around, and if I was
5 colour as well.
Yeah, exactly. And if I was Dan and I had a really aggressive, really tight blue-white fires or red black aggressive deck, you could just be like 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, and the game's over.
I'm not a fan of aggression and sealed is the problem. But Glinthawk idol is just an evasion creature.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where you're basically paying a white to shock your opponent every turn. And
aggressive in a normal sealed, I agree with that. But the fact that it's the first night, and like the first creature Niall's playing
here's
is
some money down for Niall,
a noble hierarch. Yeah, I mean, but this is the first creature he's playing.
My bag behind you there.
Plays a mountain as well.
Gonna go a bit overkill and take photos of stuff. Since.
And then there's a Minotaurs on not bloodthirsted.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's going to be a lot of this in this format. A lot of posturing and dirtling. There's a lot of powerful uncommons and rares, and that's going to lead to a lot of decks being focused around 3 or 4 cards, and a lot of the other cards just facilitating these.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the idea of having 4 counter spells and a Glinthawk and a Vapor Snack and a Repeal on the field. I mean, that seems sweet to me.
It does seem sweet, and it's definitely a way to go for sure. But as I said, with his pool, just overrun was beckoning. There was a few different ways.
Overwhelming Stampede, yeah.
Yeah, that's of course.
Because that works slightly differently.
Strictly worse than overrun.
Yeah, because he does have to have the creature to back it up. So it's. I know it's still a bomb. You still play it. It's insane, but you know, I mean, sometimes you have to ignore the big bombs and just go with something that's a bit more.
Dan's hand is pretty decent here. He's thinking about giving his skimmer flying here, but he has very bad with some of the names with the helium.
Oh yeah, the Helium Squirter.
Helium Squirter.
The worst names card.
And he has a Selesnya Guild Mage and an Argent Sphinx in hand, so his hand is pretty stacked. And Vine's a vast one as well.
Yeah.
So it's just what lines he wants to take here.
I don't quite like having the Helium Squirter out now because he doesn't have any way of benefiting, but he clearly disagrees.
It's the best use of his mana, is what I'd say.
That's true.
And he doesn't want to play this. He can't play the Sphinx, and he doesn't want to play the Guild Mage because it's very vulnerable. Niall has nearly a full grip, 6 cards, and Selesnya Guild Mage is a card that can genuinely take over the game if you play it a bit later. You'd also at least like to be able to activate it once if they do have that removal spell to try and 2-for-1 them.
Yeah. We can see here as well with the Bauble, with the Karoo lands as well, and I'll just still with almost a full grip, and it's turn, you know, and he's played a land every turn, so it's like turn 6. Or turn 7, sorry.
The downsides to these formats, using Oblivion, that's a very aggressive use of Oblivion Marine.
Yeah, I think Dan will be pretty happy with that as long as nothing is coming down the pike.
Helium Squirter is a good card. Like if he doesn't deal with it, he is just going to start taking 5 through the air from the Skimmer and the Squirter.
We see here Dan drew the 2nd island, so he'll be able to get that Sphinx down.
Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare for Niall who doesn't have much of a board position. He does have 4 open mana here though, and I can't get a glimpse if he's holding any removal.
Yeah, or any sort of counter spells. In those colours as well, it's not very likely he'll have it. He doesn't have much black or white open, so straight up lightning bolt, is it? Or a chain lightning?
That's a burst lightning.
Burst lightning.
He's only done it for 1 mana. He's made a mistake here.
Yeah, he thought it was a lightning bolt, I guess.
That's unfortunate. That happens to everyone.
But this is what I'm saying.
He didn't even have enough to kick it. Was the problem? So
yeah, but this is what I'm saying. The new players. I mean, if you can prey on or not new players, but we have a lot of good players who only came into the game in the last 2-3 years, and so if they don't know these cards, don't know how they work, you can probably prey on that lack of knowledge and just try and get in. And
the one downside I have to this format is. In these 5 colour decks, you just don't know what to expect. So you see his 1 white mana there. He might be 1 white mana away from an Elishnorn, and Dan just not having much play to do about it. You know.
Yeah.
5 mana here. Oh, and that's Thunderblast Elemental, is that his name?
Yeah, I think so. It's the 6/2 with
haste, and he persists to have trample.
And if it has a -1/-1 counter on it, it has trample.
Yeah. An interesting card. It trades with a lot of early drops. I'm never sure where to position it in a deck. But technically card advantage, I guess. Like it's possible that Daniel's going to have to trade 2 cards for it here.
Which is pretty terrible.
He might be able to afford to take the first 6 and trade with the Skimmer.
Well, it's actually going to be 7 because the Noble Hierarch trigger.
Oh, of course, the Exalted trigger.
Yeah.
Which is pretty damage, but it is a lot of damage. But Daniel also has the line of playing a Guild Mage next turn and just starting to make counters and just block it infinitely.
Sure. Do you know what's actually something I found really funny is
and he's taking the damage. He thinks he can control this thing.
Sure. I find really funny the interaction between the proliferate spells and the -1/-1 counters on your opponent's persist cards.
Oh, that's excellent. Yeah, the design really allows for
it's really deep. I feel like it's a really deep format.
It's really cool to see them design limited sets with old abilities, combining old abilities together. Really cool. You feel like they have a file somewhere saying this mechanic is going to work with future sight in the future, you know, stuff like that. So I'm always still hanging around in Dan's hat with vines and 2 lands, I think.
Yeah, he actually will, if he puts down the Guildmage, he can start producing 1/1s and chump blocking that 7/2.
Exactly.
And without the trample, it's
it's useless. Well, he's in a good position here. If Niall doesn't have a removal spell, he gets the Guildmage, hold up Vines to the Vastwood, and start getting in with the Sphinx.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to be able to give the Skimmer flying quite yet until next turn when he plays his other island. Oh, okay, he's going for it. He does. Sorry, that's a Rule land.
The Crew land, yeah.
That's a Crew land. My bad.
No, that's fine. Puts Dan in a better position.
Yeah, it's a very good position. He's threatening 6 flying again next turn.
Yeah.
2 separate removal spells are needed here, both for the Sphinx, which is winning down the game, and for the Selesnya Guildmage, which is going to win down the game if it's kept on check.
Yeah.
So Niall in a lot of pressure here, and having not made use of his Burst Lightning, he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
So now there's a decision to be made, whether you make the 1/1 token and just block now and leave yourself open to removal.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like that's what he's doing.
He's making that line, and I think it's fine because, as I said, 2 removal spells are what Niles needs here, not just 1.
And that's an unbloodthirsted Scarg Firebird, I believe. That does not have counters.
No.
It is not Raid. Raid is the stronger Bloodthirst.
This is the Phoenix you can get back right from the graveyard for 3 red, I want to say.
Yeah, but it only goes back to your hand.
Yeah.
But it is a 3/3 flyer for 6. It used to be a rare. Now it's downgraded to an uncommon.
Yeah, there's a lot of rares that downgraded to uncommons, and most of them I agree with, except for the 4 mana 4/4, which I think is BS.
Which is the 4 mana?
4 mana 4/4. When he comes into play, put a 1/1 counter on all your guys with a 1/1 counter on them.
Oh yeah, he's pretty good.
I think he's too good at uncommon, but that's
yeah.
I guess you have to have good uncommon.
So how is Dan laying out his creatures?
He's deciding whether he can attack here. There's an argument for not attacking and being the control player here, doing some trading, and your Guild Mage is going to take over the game, because now he gets to start making tokens with Vines of the Vastwood up, and that Guild Mage is never going to die. It's interesting. I'm not sure how many cards Niall has in hand to make that decision, but last turn, if Niall didn't kill one of my creatures, I would be pretty happy saying he's not killing. Oh, actually, he's just getting very aggressive.
Does he have an overwhelming stampede?
No, he has Vines. We don't have the life totals here, so this might just be a lethal attack. That Noble Hierarch is probably going to have to jump in front of something here.
Well, Niall hasn't actually blocked the Skimmer, which is really funny. So it's just Dan is just confident of you're not blocking with it. I'm happy with it, not having to activate flying.
So this is 5 damage here. Makes 9 with the Vines.
So yeah,
that might be lethal. Unfortunately, again, sorry guys, we don't have light totals here.
Yeah,
that's lethal. Okay,
it is lethal.
Dan was just being a bit cautious and making sure he had the maths right there.
And we see as well the things that did the real work were the Skimmer and the Sphinx. So it's just like, maybe I'm completely wrong, I just feel like there's a really good blue-white Flyers deck that he could have that's really tight.
I saw Ev with a very good blue-black one there with a couple of the not air cloud elementals and
awesome.
stuff like that.
Really good card.
Yeah,
if Dan had one of those, I think it would have pushed him in. It's one of those kind of cards you go, actually, this might be a deck.
I'd also like to point out with people, those basic lands that Dan do not come with the boosters. He just carries them around everywhere.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait. It'll be Battle of Zendikar. We're gonna get full art lands. It's gonna happen. You know it's gonna happen.
I don't like making predictions like this.
You're right, but I will. I'll be that guy. I'll put my head on the
my only prediction is flip Planeswalkers. I'm gonna wreck my head.
Yeah, probably.
I hate flip cards so much.
Why do you hate flip cards?
They're logistical nightmares. So Dan, checking the sideboard here. It's very hard to sideboard anything. Like you're playing against a 5-color deck. He played a mash of removal, evasion guys.
Yeah, I can't remember if he has a repeal in the main. He's also looking at the Fairy Mechanist, but I still think that's just not what you want to be doing.
The Mechanist is just going to be a flyer that hits very little on his deck.
Yeah,
I am a major fan of Mutagenic Growth, even in these like slow formats. I think it's just a free removal spell a lot of the time. I think you've seen a Burst Lightning out of your opponent's deck as well. It's going to protect your guys like Selesnya or Guild Mage if you put them down early.
Yeah.
In general, again, this is a thing where if you played with Mutagenic Growth and the free spells unlimited, you'll know how good they are. And I'm playing it in nearly any deck where I can also cast it, I think. Sure. And there's even questions where I'll play it in decks where I can't cast it for its mana cost.
So, Gus, you were looking at Dan building the deck. What was your opinion of it, or maybe how would you have built it this bit different?
I didn't really get a full chance to look because I was working at the same time.
Sure.
But his green seemed very strong.
Okay.
Did he play the Rampant Growth in the end?
Oh yeah. Overwhelming Stampede, yeah. Oh, the Rampant Growth.
No, Rampant Growth.
Yeah, I believe he did.
Yeah, I think this is the most playable Rampant Growth has been in a limited set in a long time.
It just seemed like your ability to splash and play whatever you want.
Yeah, he dismissed it very quickly, which was very strange to me. I'm like, it just seems really good in this format, especially when the rest of your pool seems a little bit loose.
I think Dan just wants all bombs. Dan's not going to be happy until every one of his own comments say I win the game.
He's got 2, and they're in the same color. So
yeah, he was.
I mean, Selesnya Guild Mage is like
a bomb.
Probably one of the best
uncommons.
It was the best uncommon, I think, in Ravnica from what I can remember.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it was better than a lot of rares in that format. So, is he playing white?
Yes, he is.
He's able to do it.
For the
Anthem effect.
Yes, he is splashing as well for Oblivion Ring and Sunlance. Yeah. So just a bit of removal.
I wonder how good the Sunlance is going to end up being in the format. It's only non-white, right?
It is non-white. Yeah.
Non-white. It's not non-white, non-artifact.
Oh,
I think it's just non-white.
Non-white.
I didn't know it had that caveat. I thought it was just 3 damage to our creature.
No, otherwise it would be probably the best common in the set. The fact that it's non-white makes it probably not the best common. It's still a solid card.
Yeah.
I'll check.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Sure. If it is that, then he cannot Sunlance his own Swans of Argyle and draw 3 cards. That's awful. Why bother?
He's he's
taking out the Thrive.
Oh, he had a Thrive in his deck.
And he's putting in the Flash Freeze. That seems very fair.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about.
Non-white.
Yeah, like I was saying, there's a lot of excellent sideboarding options as well. He's not playing black, but he would have had access to Shrivel, which would stop a lot of token strategies, which seem particularly strong if you get the right pool.
In this format in general, because they're fixing sideboarding is going to be a very big thing in Sealed, I think.
There's not an awful lot of enchantment removal.
No, there's the Kami of I can't remember the name of the Kami, the one that you sacrifice.
The 2-drop Kami is in the format, and he's main deckable. Yeah. But a lot of pros are saying Sundering, what's it called? Sundering Vitae is main deckable.
What's Sundering Vitae?
Destroy an artifact or a enchantment.
It's naturalized, but it has
Convoke.
Okay.
And it's 4, I think, isn't it?
No,
main?
It's like 2.
Oh, is it only 2?
No.
Yeah, that main deckable. Like in Sealed, there's so many common artifacts that everyone plays.
Actually, yeah, you're right. That's fair.
And there's just random things like Oblivion Ring.
Okay, so Dan he's got enough lands, but does he have enough? That looks like 6 lands, and is that a Helium Squirter?
No, it's the other guy, the Vidalcan somethings, isn't it? I'm not sure he's flicking. Yeah, Vidal.
Vigian.
Mage. He has another spell as well. I'm not sure what it is, but yeah, it's not
Vigian Graph Mage anyway.
It wasn't a very good hand anyway. Not for this format.
Yeah, that's a temptation of a lot of players, is to keep hand like that, because you kind of get it into your head that you're like, oh, if I just draw some spells, it's excellent. I'd rather have lands than...
The problem with... I'm not opposed to keeping 5 landers. The problem with the state of his hand there was that there was no payoff for having the land. So if that was his hand, but he had a
Selesnya, a Guild Mage,
or his Sphinx, I'm like, okay, his strategy is halfway there. He has his bomb. he's just looking for protection and other creatures for his opponent to waste
Then
or
maybe
move
it's
on.
a keeper. But
Then
with
maybe
just two random dudes.
two
it's
random
like-
dudes. If you draw a land, you're just losing the game. Every land draw from then on is absolutely appalling.
Sure.
Is this a player draw format?
I am on the side of always play. I've been for the last 5 years of Modern Magic that you're always on the play. There's very little exceptions. I think the tempo you get from being on the play, if you're the first person to play your Alloy Mirror, like even if it's a slow format, if I'm going Alloy Mirror first to fix my colours, if I'm getting to play my Karoo lands and then untap and use them first, I think.
Oh, we see
it's a big deal.
Cage of the Sun, or not Cage Sun. It's
Sphere
Sphere of the Suns. Yeah, Sphere of the Suns is down before.
Rampant growths, everything like that.
Oh, and here's a nice combo. Dan can proliferate that Sphere of the Suns.
Give
for
it
his
extra.
opponent. Make the game a bit fairer, I think.
Yeah.
But
Who won the first game? Sorry.
Dan did.
Dan did.
Okay.
His opponent mistakenly burst lightning only for 1 mana when he didn't have enough to kick her in.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't end up killing an Argent Sphinx, which did a lot of damage in the game.
Yeah, probably won the game.
Dan has the Sphinx and a Stampede and a Celestia Guild Mage in his hand, as far as I see, and a Karoo land. This is going beautifully for Dan. I think that's literally all the good cards in his deck.
Does not trigger proliferate on the
Oh, I think
yeah, he's like, nope, not doing that.
missed a beat. I think he missed a beat. You gotta look your opponent in the eyes and say you're willing to make these clutch plays in clutch times.
We were saying as well, there's a lot of the few persist creatures being able to proliferate those -1/-1 counters.
Is there persist?
Oh yeah,
there's a couple.
There's the elemental guy. There's a few more, and there's
I think it's mostly ours.
Oh, the Thunderblust guy.
Yeah,
there's Thunderblust. There's the fairy that brings back something from your opponent's graveyard.
Macabre.
No.
Puppeteer Clique.
Puppeteer Clique is that?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's also
Ev has it. I like the Ev's deck. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah. There's also some wither effects as well, which is pretty cool.
There's the 2-drop that. In general, though, advice to people: don't try and build your deck around proliferate. It isn't a thing. Again, from.
Yeah, he's showing the Sphinx. Does he have the second blue?
He picked up a blue and he has the second. The proliferate decks aren't actual decks. It's just advantage
So
that
what
you
you're
gain
saying
over
is he
play.
picked up a blue so that he can't play his guy on the curve?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
that's what
good
we're
to know.
saying.
Just to get that thrumming bird out and get that 1 damage going.
I think if you would put that counter on the artifact, his opponent might be scared, might have killed the thrumming bird. Severe lines going on here. You got to be willing to next level in this format.
Yeah, absolutely.
So his opponent only on 3 of healers at the moment.
Yeah, and we could see as well.
He went and got a red with this.
Yeah,
He got a red as well. Apologies. So okay, so he's pretty set.
yeah. He's Teamer splashing white. It looks like.
Yeah, that could very well be.
We didn't see any black spells out of him. He was playing the Orzhov Basilica, which is the black-white Karoo land, but only saw a Oblivion Ring out of him as a white spell, no black spell.
But again, this format very hard to tell. And Dan shipping the turn now, making us think that indeed picking up the island was probably the wrong line of play to take.
Yeah.
Actually, very weird. Dan shipping the turn and he has the frog in hand, right? The 3 mana 3/3.
Blackscaster.
Yeah, I think so. So I don't know. Playing around counter magic, I think, is not giving his opponent time to use the spells, but also not putting on much of a clock, waiting for his opponent to blink first, maybe.
Did he have a remand in hand, or a flash freeze? Because that would have made it. I think he does have a remand in hand.
Then picking up.
No, he has a repeal.
Repeal.
So he was actually So what
And
he
now pre-combat playing playing the frog.
Yes, because now he gets to swing with the
Proliferate
thumbing.
it, yeah.
Thumbing bird, proliferate, give an extra counter onto that.
This is a play he had for him last turn though, and chose not to play it.
Sure. Well, he was winning the game there. So it was... Oh, last turn. Sorry.
Last turn he could have made this play as well and chose not to. Maybe deciding not to be cautious. If his opponent isn't playing spells, that's fine with Dan. Wildfire could be some trouble here if his opponent was playing it, but an Oblivion Ring, pretty good target for an Oblivion Ring.
Yeah. What's the other ability of that frog?
It gives Shroud. You can pay to give Shroud.
Oh,
okay.
Wow.
So he's just going to give it Shroud, I guess.
Wow, that's bad. I thought his other ability was passing counters around. That is, it's a bit of a punt by his opponent there, unfortunately.
It's anything that has a counter can gain Shroud.
And again, this is people not playing these cards before.
Yeah, not reading certain things in the table.
Not really, yeah, like me, maybe assuming that it did something different. And
yeah, absolutely. Well, we all don't.
We also got to remember this is just at the end of the day in F&M and people just having a bit of fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Playing with the new cards, but this seems pretty game
A
ending.
lot of these cards are new to people as well.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, it's a reprint set, but it's not.
Yeah.
So we got a Proliferate there. I mean, that's a 5/5 Shroud Frog. I mean, that's a serious... And
still has Shroud.
Still has Shroud open.
So that's why Dan made the play last turn. He wanted to play it with Shroud up, and that's completely fair.
Now, if I remember correctly,
Twister hits flyers, right?
Twister hits
Savage
all.
Twister.
Yeah, it just hits all creatures.
Now, if I remember correctly with Graft, can he not move a counter from that frog onto the
He
Sphinx?
could have if he'd wanted to.
Yeah.
I think that would that be correct?
No, making it 5/5 to stay at a wildfire range.
Just to give both of them the ability to be shrouded.
I like still being out of wildfire range. It's like one of the only cards I think that's gonna get Dan here, in my opinion. Like, Palaka Worm, maybe the best uncommon in the set.
This is gain 7 life, and if it dies, you draw a card.
Also trample.
7/7 trample for 7 mana.
You could take any bit of its text off it, and it would still be a broken card. It could not have trample.
Yeah.
It could not gain life. It
Now
could
he's
not
getting
draw.
punished for not moving the counter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could not draw a card, and yet this card would still be broken if it didn't do any of those individual things.
Tony Bird is when it hits, isn't it? It's when
when it deals damage. He's still going to get through for 5 in the air here. He's still in a pretty safe spot, but gaining 7 has brought Niall back into this game.
Yeah, and it's funny, the repeal in Dan's hand, really not good.
No. It's good in the sense that he can wait for an Alpha Strike.
He does have the Overwhelming Stampede, and does that win him the game? No, not sure.
It's in his hand?
Yes.
It mustn't be, because it would definitely just win
I'm
him the game.
100% sure he has Overwhelming Stampede.
Well, then he just missed 15 damage on board.
It's even more than that.
Look, I'm almost 100% sure it's an Overwhelming Stampede.
Yeah,
if I'm wrong,
I think, like, how much damage does
I'm
he
pretty
do?
sure the game would be over if he had
Yes.
Overwhelming
No, he has it. It's definitely in his hand, the
Yeah.
Rhino picture. So maybe, again, we don't have life totals here, but it seems like attacking for 3 trample with the frog plus
18 from
nine.
the Overwhelming Stampede.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure his opponent should have just been dead there.
Yeah.
But again, new cards.
Well, no, new old cards.
Yeah, new cards to most.
Yeah.
Maybe not quite seeing it.
Yeah, it's funny. He wants to start grinding
also,
out
his
this
opponent,
game.
in fairness, his opponent does have one on the sphere, and he has seen Burst Lightning before. But I think I'd still go for it. He's still gonna have to block with his Palaka Worm.
Absolutely. And I think at that stage, if you're threatening that much, you're okay with your opponent losing a life. I still would have moved the counter to the Sphinx.
He was on 20, so that's why he didn't do it.
Maybe.
What was that, Alex saying?
Maybe you moved.
Okay, he was on 20. There's still a consideration for putting him to 2 and killing the Palaka Worm, though, right?
No, it adds 18 to power to the field, so it would be.
No, it didn't.
Added.
He was only a 5/5
15.
at the time.
Yeah, he added 15 power to the field.
15,
19.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay.
It's still, 19.
It's still enough.
It's not still enough. It's
no.
How much was he on? 20?
Yeah.
It would have been 10. The frog would have been 10.
7 of it.
So it would have blocked. 3 would have gone through.
You're right.
Putting him to 17. He would have had 6, 9, 14 in the air. So it would have left him on 3. But it does kill his Palaka Worm and leave him with no board. Like, I don't mind the play.
No.
But again, maybe this is more certain. Like, it's very hard for him to lose the game from here.
Yeah.
Again, I know I keep going on about the card. Wildfire would have probably done it again. But that card is absolutely absurd, and I guess you can't always play around it.
I really... Wolfbriar Elemental. How many times has it kicked?
Now, again, the Overwhelming Stampede makes this a bit irrelevant, but...
I think he says 3.
Yeah, that's 3.
I know you want to kind of make your Overwhelming Stampede better, but is there any call as well for moving a counter to the Guild Mage to protect it, or are you just kind of going all out on making it sapperling? And
yeah, he just wants to... He just wants to make a 6. He wants to have a 6/6 for the Stampede. Yeah. He's going to Stampede this turn. There's no way around it. Even if he kills the frog in response, which I'm pretty sure 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he has enough mana to stop. So yeah, his opponent's just dead.
Okay. So he's looking at. He's going to
make a counter.
He can also repeal for 1. If I believe he has repeal in hand, so he gets to repeal one of the tokens
and
he can
draw
repeal
a card for 0.
Which is pretty great. This is one of LSV's favourite plays, to repeal a Delver in Vintage for 1 blue and draw a card.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's
the value.
Every blue deck he has, 1 repeal, just because he's like playing against a Delver. And it's just answer stuff sometimes.
Dan being a bit cautious here. Shortcut for anyone that gets to play Overrun at the GP. count your opponent's toughness and just add your power.
Yeah.
That is how trample works with an overrun. Just a little trick. Saves you a lot of time.
Yeah. Wolfbriar Elemental is a 4/4 for 4 mana, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or is it a 3/3? 4/4?
4/4.
Okay, so he has. So yeah, he's going to appeal one of them. So
he only has 8 power to block with.
Yeah. Because of the attack with the Placa one.
He's very dead here, and we'll see just why they don't print.
Does he have nameless inversion or something?
He might.
Does he?
I haven't seen. I haven't seen his hand. It's very hard to see at this angle. Even an inversion, I think, does it here.
He's Vapor Snag.
Oh, and he has a Vapor Snag in hand. Okay, his opponent is very, and Placa Worm attacked.
Yeah.
His opponent is very dead. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is why they don't print Overrun anymore.
It's
kind of core set.
I know. This is the bad version of Overrun as well.
So let's see, what's he going to be?
I don't know if that's bad. I
think we'll see a scoop here.
Scoop, indeed.
I don't know if it's better. You need to have a guy.
So Dan's deck got there. Looks like for all of his moaning and
it'd be just as good.
Yeah, for all of his moaning, he threw his bombs both games and won again. So
I don't think I'd ever moan in a sealed deck where I got to have Overrun in the modern day of Magic. The card
with
is
a Guild Mage as well.
Yeah, the card is absurdly.
His deck, his pool was quite good. I thought. I think he was overly negative about it.
Yeah, I don't know what else. Like, but besides having one of the big 3 mythics, Comet Storm, Karn, or Elish Norn, I don't know what else he's expecting. He has removal, he has finishers, he has flyers, he has evasion, bombs, and removal, and that's all he wants.
And decent counter spells as well, which I feel like as well, because of the nature of counter spells these days, not enough people play around them in limited. So usually you can get people with that.
Yeah, I'd rather have straight up removal, but Remand.
He didn't play Remand, did he?
No, it's in his sideboard.
Definitely be playing Remand.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Remand. Especially when people are casting 8, 7, and 8 mana things in the format. I'm a big fan of Remand.
Just to buy a turn, draw a card.
Can you Remand a Kuru?
If only.
If only. Decent sideboard. I'm not a fan of Thrive. It's in Dan's main deck. Again, that's something I played with in Limited before, and it just wasn't very good in its format.
It's kind of underwhelming in the format.
Yeah, but we don't know. The format could change. Is that more removal? He's not splashing. How dare he?
Yeah, there's a no. What's the green Necro Genesis?
No, he's playing. He's not playing. There's a spread the sickness down the Necro Genesis.
Sure.
Which is excellent.
With
the value.
With the 2 Evolving Wilds and the 2 Crew Lands, he might be able to just splash all of his removal.
Yeah, a lot of people are doing that. I don't know if he has to be that greedy. His deck looks pretty decent without it.
Yeah, he's taking out some cards out of the side, so it's just a look. He's looking at those Glint
Make
Hawks.
a second deck?
Potentially.
Glint Hawks are excellent.
Yeah, they're fantastic. No, it doesn't seem so.
I wouldn't be surprised if it ends up being one of the best white commons. Again, it was in its original set. By far, like all your good white draft decks had.
I love me a Glint Hawk.
Yeah, Glint Hawks. You don't need to. Again, people going to Utrecht, just give them the advice. You don't need to be activating your Glint Hawks with artifacts, just with mana.
Yeah.
If it's the only artifact in your deck, I would still play it if I was a winner.
Absolutely.
Dan wins pretty comprehensively. 1 or 2 small mistakes, but then there's Dan stealing some product, of course.
He is not winning a box for winning 1 round.
No. Gamersworld generous with their store championships and their standard nights, but not so much with their wins at F&Ms, I guess.
Yeah. Speaking of which, this F&M is still counting towards the end of year league, which is the Gamersworld Invitational. There's 4 leagues, 4 seasons for each of the leagues. The 4 formats which are in are Thursday night standard, Friday night F&M, which is usually sealed, Wednesday modern, which we stream here every Wednesday, and Tuesday night draft. So any of the players who win any of those leagues in any of the seasons are automatically entered into the Invitational, and as well there's going to be some last minute qualifiers as well.
There's going to be 2 last minute qualifiers, and there's going to be multiple people from each are going to qualify.
Excellent.
We're thinking at least the top 2.
Yeah, there's going to be 36 players.
On top of that, for anyone that doesn't know, at the end of each season, the people who qualify also are awarded for standard and modern a box of whatever the set's coming out.
Now, I don't think in Modern Masters but you could get
it will be the core set.
Yeah, you can either get Magic Origins or you could get a box of Dragons.
And if you have already won one of the seasons, you will get a second box.
Yeah, which is
so
insane.
Come beat Dave C. Come stop him from taking all the boxes. That's
Yeah,
That's what Magic is about.
And we're saying Thursday night standard, which is the one myself and Dave play a lot. It's €11 entrance fee, and I think often I go about 3-1 and I get 9 boosters, which is excellent.
They're really trying to cultivate a community here.
Yeah,
the shop lets you trade in your boosters in exchange for standard cards at a pretty high rate.
Yeah.
You know, it's very good price support here. And the end of the year last year, our winner was Modi.
Yeah,
he won enough to get him a trip to a GP. I don't know if he went to the GP or he used it to buy cards in the shop.
I think he went to the GP.
But this year we are promised even bigger prizes, and we're not allowed to say exactly what, of course. But there's big things in store for the end of the year.
Actually, no. I've been cleared to announce it.
You've been cleared to announce it.
One of the formats for the Invitational, if you get there, there's going to be 3 pods, 36 people, is a Modern Masters draft. So just getting to the Invitational, you straight up get a Modern Masters 2015 draft.
You know what? You like playing Magic, you do well at it. Here's 35 quid.
Absolutely.
End of the year, here's just 35 quid. On top of what else you can win here.
Absolutely. There's probably, I reckon the formats will be Modern Masters draft, standard, and then maybe another limited format.
Maybe. I think they're going to try and keep it to the formats they're going week in, week out.
Sure.
There's been some people asking for bring your own standard. Rochester, people have been interested again, and maybe we'll end up Modern Master Rochestering.
Yeah.
But, you know, the shop always wants to bring it back to the communities they're going here. The large modern community, the standard community, which is starting to grow up. And a lot of limited players that play sealed and on Tuesday nights. You know?
Absolutely. And we will also be streaming the invitation. We'll be posting a lot about that as it comes up to it. If you go to our Facebook page, which is Serious Business IRL, you'll be able to find us there. We're going to be posting people who are at the top of leagues. For example, in Modern, I believe Shane Downs is only 1 point clear of everyone else. There's a lot of
Modern is very competitive.
Yeah, it's very competitive. Shane is at 61 points. I think Sean Fitzpatrick is at 60, and then Evan McHugh, I believe, is at 59. Like, it's crazy close. It's a really close one. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Of course, tune in every Wednesday at 6:30 Greenwich Mean Time on Twitch at twitch.com/serious_business_IRL.
That is some serious business.
It is serious business, absolutely. Because I believe that all of that Sean and Shane have already qualified for already qualified for the Invitational, so they're just playing for booster boxes.
It's booster boxes. There's drop down prizes. Modern's very competitive. I know. Are you qualified?
Not yet.
You're looking to qualify this standard
this season. I'm hoping to get there. I'm on course. It
stays highly competitive. People that are qualified don't drop out because of the rewards they can get. I know I'm qualified through the standard one, the first standard season.
Absolutely.
And I've promised to win all 4
and get your booster boxes.
To get my booster boxes.
Sure.
At the moment, Sean Fitzgerald winning the standard one by 6 points. Closely followed by me, and then third place is Graham. Graham is second or third?
Yeah, Graham's about 10 points behind. I'm about 20, but I'm hoping to pick up some, so hopefully. But Graham is already invited as well. So we're really looking forward to that. We're actually going to see if we can get a person onto the table for another round, if we can. So yeah, hopefully that'll work out. But yeah, it's a really interesting format. I'm really liking the Modern Masters format. I mean, I think it's going to be really interesting seeing what works. We've gone on about Proliferate, and there's a lot of different things happening with the different cards, the different interactions, because really they get to play with what cards from different points in Magic do when interacting with each other. It's kind of Wizards getting to build their own cube. I know they have the online Legacy cube, but this one's just kind of a different feel, a different flavour, one that's more limited by normal set structure of commons, uncommons and rares, whereas, you know, a normal cube is a lot of rares and some very good commons, and or some very good uncommons and a really good uncommon.
All the matches are in progress at the moment. So.
Okay, is there any chance of us getting one?
I'm gonna see how long's left in the round, and we'll see.
Yeah, can we throw that out there, please? So yeah, it's really interesting. We're going to see if we can get someone involved in the front. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I'm not as big a fan of sealed. I think it's a different mentality. I really enjoy draft, which is what Gamersworld are going to be having drafts all weekend, Saturday and Sunday, starting from 11 until late. When pretty much as soon as people turn up, and there's 8 people, they're going to fire off a draft. If I remember correctly, it's €30 to draft, and then if you pay €40, there will be to draft instead. There will be an extra booster added to the prize pool, which is pretty great. And yeah, that's one I'm really interested in. It's Gamersworld in Dublin as well. We're here on number 1 Jervis Street.
There's 3 minutes.
3 minutes left in the round.
It
Wow.
turns out Gus forgot to set a timer, but, so we're just going off what Murray said. So
yeah, no, actually, yeah, because it started.
It's close enough. Like,
it
I think
started
it's
at 7:10,
yeah.
so yeah, it should actually be wrapping up fairly soon.
Yeah, so like there seems to be about 6 games still going, so it seems like it's
slow
quite
enough
slow
format.
moment, yeah.
But that's what I was saying. I feel like people are going to be making these kind of slower,
Yeah,
maybe.
There's a lot of high costing creatures out there. Like as you saw, Dan just lost to a Palaka worm.
No, he won.
Dan beat the
Dan
Palaka
won.
worm.
Oh,
Yeah,
I wasn't
Dan
paying
beat
no-
a
I wasn't
Palaka
paying
worm with some
attention.
overruns.
Crushed a
That's-
Palaka worm.
That's pretty good going because I heard that coming down and I saw Dan's hand. I was like,
Oh.
this looks bad.
No, he has an overwhelming stampede in hand. He can't lose.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Dan had a couple of lines. I think his might have been correct, but he could have killed he could have overwhelming stampeded the turn the guy Palaka worm. The guy has to chump block with a Palaka worm, which is not something you'll see very often.
No, yeah, that seems pretty bad.
and then he goes to like 2 or 3,
goes
isn't
to,
it?
Yeah, 2 I think it is, and Dan still has a 5/5 with Shroud up or whatever.
Yeah.
So that could have been a line, and that's fine. But instead, he chose to play the
Just go a
Guild
bit
Mage
wider.
and guarantee. Nearly guarantee. I guess the guy could have passed with 7 mana up, but he can't go for it then.
Yeah.
But like, pretty much guarantee himself a win next turn with the Stampede.
Okay, yeah, that seems fair.
But even scary as well if Niall he made a bunch of Briarwolf Alpha, or what's the name, Briarwolf Elemental?
Yeah.
Yeah, he made a bunch of tokens with that. I didn't see what mana he had particularly used, but I mean, if he kept up any sort of blue mana with 1 colorless, it's just like, that makes it kind of scary to try and go off.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like Remand, I'd be a lot more scared of Remand than Mana Leak in this format.
Both blue and 1.
Yeah, but I think people are a lot more likely to play Remand than Mana Leak, and if you
Sure.
Remand, it's not too bad.
Yeah. No, it's not, but it's,
From what I've seen, Remand definitely seems more popular. I have seen quite a few of them in the deck.
Remand, I
phase.
think, is just kind of better.
it's a powerful spell. People want to play it. It's well. I'd actually really be interested in what the price is of it now, because that was a $15 uncommon. They printed it in the dual deck, and that didn't do much to affect the price.
it dropped to a $5.
It's $5 now.
It's about, I think it's about $7 to $10.
Here's something interesting that can happen though, and I want to call it the Tarmogoyf phenomenon.
Sure.
But I'm pretty sure there's an actual economic name for it. And so there's a certain demand for Tarmogoyf that puts its price up so high. So whatever it was, like 150 or something, 200.
Yeah, it's $200 at the moment.
$200. So that's the price of a Tarmogoyf. Now, there's not enough demand to drive its price up further.
Yeah.
But because this set is printed, not only does it create more supply, but there's a chance that it creates much more demand than supply for Tarmogoyfs.
That happened in the last.
That's
Modern
what
Masters.
happened to the last one. Like Modern Masters, we can play Modern. Let's go buy our Modern cards and our Tarmogoyfs.
And they open 2 Tarmogoyfs and they go, oh, I have to buy 2 more to get my play set.
Stuff like this happens. So it's what happens.
We have to get 3 more now to finish our play.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
So that's what happens when you boost supply. Now this set has is more of a print run, so maybe it will temper the price, and it definitely puts a ceiling on the price of Tarmogoyf. Knowing that they're very willing to print Tarmogoyf every 2 years means that it's probably not going to rise above
That's a good point. Yeah.
220, 250 ever. But because there's so much hype in Modern, this does create demand for the card.
I think in the last set it was very much Tarmogoyf and Bob were the big ones. At this point, it's all Tarmogoyf. That's all anyone's talking about.
No,
But
I
Bob's
think
just-
Karn is still high up there. Like
Karn is.
is still really popular, and it's still really hard to come across.
But he didn't. He wasn't.
He was always like 40 to 50, but he's always been at that.
Yeah, but it's just that's what I'm saying. It's just like
Yeah.
if which you're going to be more excited to open, you know.
So I'd be happy to open a Karn.
I know you open a Tarmogoyf. I don't think you can get much happier. That's like
Well,
foil
Tarmogoyf,
Tarmogoyf. Yeah.
I think that they've done a pretty excellent job of reprinting.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of complaining about CERN Visions. My problem with CERN Visions is if they print it at common, they'd have to print that uncommon for one. But say they printed at common, the card plummets from a $15 card to a $2 card, $4 card.
Probably less.
Probably less.
Yeah.
The problem is people have recently, CERN Visions has only recently in the last year and a half gone up in price. Your memory is still fresh of buying your play set of CERN Visions.
Yeah.
If you buy your play set of CERN Visions and then
The price goes
half
way
a
down.
year later it's $2, you are disgusted.
Yes.
This is why it's a F&M promo. This is why I think they've done it. They haven't done it to purposely keep the card high.
Yeah.
Oh, they have done it to purposely keep the card high, but not at the detriment of the player.
Yeah.
More at the trust of Wizards. If my card plummets half a year after buying it, I'm not going to trust buying Modern cards again.
Yeah.
So there's some cards they just can't print yet, and certain visions I think is
especially at the lower rarities.
Yeah,
at the mythic space they're still fine.
That's fine. Like Karn, people have bought their Karns for 40, but he's only going to go down to 35, maybe 30.
Yeah,
and people don't mind small changes like that, especially for mythics. I know if I had bought my 4 Serum Visions for $60,
you'd be pretty annoyed.
And someone printed it, and now I could pay 2, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just they do these things with a lot of consideration for the secondary market. This whole set is about the secondary market. So while I'd usually say they don't care too much about it, they do for this set. They do put a lot of consideration into what it could do for this set.
They definitely learned a lot from the first Modern Masters print run, which was just so limited. It was just really hard to get hold of things, and then it's just like,
you see, this set is like a hair away from being Chronicles or whatever. Not Chronicles, what's it called?
It is Chronicles.
Chronicles. Like, it's a hair away from being Chronicles. If all of a sudden you found out this print run was twice as big as you thought, and Tarmogoyf is now a $50
the market
card,
would crash.
There's just a trust in the company, and you lose a lot of that trust, and people just forget how close Chronicles was to ruining the secondary market.
Yeah, it's really funny though, because I mean, coming up to this, you hear a lot of groups talking about like Star City Games, Channel Fireball, these groups who have this huge stockpile of cards and a certain amount of liquid value to them, that these sets can potentially take off. But all of them seemed really excited by the prospect of the price coming down, which I think is funny, because from a business point of view, suddenly if these prices maybe do come down, people go, oh, the prices are low, they're sitting on 50 whatever cards, and suddenly they just sell all of them, and that's just straight up money into their hand. There is that side of it as well.
The Star City and the Channel Fireballs of the world, there's a big difference between them and I think a lot of European stores, and that's marketing. And I know that's very American, and they have a lot bigger audience, and they have cheap, you have all the excuses in the world, they have cheaper boxes, but they market. I don't know what's happening in Utrecht. I can tell you what's happening in Vegas, and I'm not even close to going to Vegas.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. Like, everyone here runs off Star City Games prices pretty much, because they're the only ones who really do it. Like, there's Magic Card Market, but they've only recently started running tournaments, but I know nothing about the tournaments. I saw an ad once flick across my screen saying there's tournaments on. It's like, where, when, and that was all I've seen.
Yeah, it's
like Star City are just, they're everywhere. Like, you just see them everywhere when you play.
We, in fact, our Wednesday Night Modern is sponsored by Star City Games. And I think that's a big thing. It's just they want to start moving into these, but that's what you have to do. And it's so easy in the Modern.
Europe probably has the same amount of players as America has. They're just all spread out more.
There's a problem with it being cross country.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to get as much of an audience as like West Coast America and stuff, because there's proper borders, unlike just state lines. But it does seem to be a very American attitude to market the hell out of yourself. Like Star City and places like that have the attitude of, these GPs we run, as long as we don't make a loss, this has been a brilliant
massive
marketing.
Success,
this has been a success.
Oh, yeah.
As long as we don't make a loss, we got to sell singles to 1,000 people we only got to sold singles to. We got to get ourselves out there. People know who we are. They're coming to our next GP, and that's how they view it.
And hopefully everyone leaves happy.
Yeah, if they break even, that's just made them 1,000 extra people who've seen them. Like, it's 1,000 views of which
I find the attitude here,
a couple of grand for it.
But because the TOs here aren't complete companies, they're just tournament organisers. They more are looking at the bottom line. I need to make X amount of money off this event to make it fruitful, opposed to, this is my marketing. I would like not to make a loss, and then anything beyond that is fantastic.
But anyway, that's a thing for another time. In terms of you call your,
heard Rang being called there. I'm gonna go see what.
You got to go line us up another couple of people.
I've seen a bunch of people talking about what different decks you'd like to play. I personally, I would love to be playing some sort of maybe aggressive tempo deck. The black-red one seems pretty good. What would you want to be playing? What's your...
my opinion of sealed is not quite good stuff. I do understand there's still seeing...
Not sealed, but even drafts. Just some sort of limited deck.
Drafts. Yeah. I'm a big fan of spirits, I think. There's 2 cards I remember playing with, and it's Teeth of Hope and the...
Waxmane Baku.
Waxmane Baku is an excellent card as well, but the 4-mana sack X spirits thing to do 2 damage...
Oh, sure.
...is huge, because it starts off with 2 damage anyway.
Yeah.
And just 3 spirits deal you 8 damage.
And we have Spectral Procession in the format as well.
Spectral Procession's in the format. Teeth of Hope is absolutely massive. 3 mana 2/2 whenever you play a Spirit or Arcane spell. Drain 1. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit gimmicky here, but that black-white kind of advantage tempo deck. You'll play your Salka. Black and white have a lot of the very good removal in the set. I'm not sure. I have to look at the uncommons to name great ones.
Yeah, it's fine. There's only a little bit of a mix-up for no one called time. So.
Awesome.
Oh, great.
So we're in turns of the last game now, so it's all good.
No, that sounds excellent. Especially, I was pointing out how there's a lot of kind of cards that you wouldn't think of as spirits because it was never really relevant at the time. Like Swans of Argyle are a spirit, and no one would. I would have never.
Spirit?
It is a spirit. See,
I thought it was like a bird.
It is a bird spirit. You would never have thought it. The Banshee, I can't remember its name, the one that Dan had in his pool. It's like, it is a spirit, and when you think about it for a second, it is. But you wouldn't have thought about it. But now suddenly it just slides into spirit deck. There's a lot of.
That's what I mean by the design of these sets. They get to mash all these cards from different sets, and when you first look at it, you think this doesn't have rhyme or reason. These are just a bunch of good cards.
Yeah.
But there's a lot. Definitely the last set, there was a lot of layers and a lot of overcrossing cards, and I'm broke, and I'm definitely going to come tomorrow and draft at least once.
Oh, it looks like an awful lot of fun to draft it.
Yeah. Awful lot of fun, and I'm great. So foil timer goes for Dave.
Yeah, okay, that's how it works.
No, sure. We'll hope for the best for you.
We might actually talk in a later round. There was the kind of etiquette of walking away from a draft, or what you can do if you do open these kind of cards that are huge value. We'll talk about that in another round.
I find that bad moral. Here's an interesting question. I'm not going to Utrecht. I got a Foo Fighters concert to hit.
Okay. Really hard with your head.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
But if you're at a GP, you go to a GP.
How much do you open?
Yeah, how much would you have to open? I'm mega competitive, so this is different for me. But you get your first pool that you have to pass. You get a foil Tarmogoyf and a normal Tarmogoyf. Are you getting up and playing side events for the weekend?
Yes, absolutely. And I am paying for every single one of those side events forever for that whole weekend with those two cards.
I don't know. In my mind, I've already paid 400 because your trip might only cost 250. But you're eating for the weekend. You've paid for the main event. You're all sorts of small things build up. No, people don't realize how much eating when they have breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's €60 for a day and stuff like that. I think I'd have to open over 600 quid. I think it would have to pay for this event and start to pay for another flight for another GP for me to even consider. I'm just so competitive.
I think it depends on what kind of player you are. Like me, I travelled over to Utrecht last year for, I think it was Standard they were playing. I went over to play Legacy.
Yeah.
So like I literally went over for a side event.
Yeah. I mean the GPs are a lot of value. Like, I mean, I don't think I'm a good enough player of Limited to be confident enough in actually moneying a GP by especially getting a pool. I think I'd be too tempted, especially when I can just go, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go draft all the time and have a really good Magic holiday.
I wouldn't blame someone for it for sure. I just think I don't get. This is me personally, but I'm not going to get to go to a million GPs. I'm there to try and win this one.
Yeah.
But if you actually look at GPs, their EV isn't extremely high. So I'm not saying mine is the right choice. Mine is just the hyper competitive.
If you got the money, if you say for instance you open up 2 foil Tarmogoyfs, I'd drop like
that's
straight,
like 800.
You'd easy drop because then you are guaranteed that money. Whereas if you go and play, you could end up getting.
I think 800 would have to be my point because 800 lets me pay for my current GP and all its expenses. And let me go to a separate one. I think that would be my point.
But you're seeing the GP as a main event with maybe some side events. I'm seeing it as, I'll play the main event, but I'm really going there for the side events. I want to do the fun chaos drafts. I want to play in the standard tournament that I'd be good at.
You go for the tournament as an event rather than going to play.
I go to the GP
and you go competitively to win.
To lose by round 6 and be very bitter and stormy for the rest of the week.
And be like, I could have just taken that foil Goyf and that regular Goyf and walked out and been fine.
My last GP I tested for so much and I got an unplayable pool. And people got to see me. I got 2 buys for GPs now. Yeah. 2 buys, and by round 5 my entire deck was in a ball on a table, and people just didn't talk to me. They just looked at me and went, "Sorry, Dave," and just walked on, just in a ball on the middle of my table.
And you were beside it, all crumpled up as well.
That was not
like
crumbly Dave.
I'm heading to England at the weekend for the Eternal weekend that they're having.
Oh, sure.
I'm heading over just to play Legacy on Sunday. So like, Whenever I go to play Legacy, it's usually always for competitive reasons. I try not to play Legacy for fun, even though I have so much fun playing.
This is true.
It's just like I'm going over to try and Emrakul someone on turn 1 and make their day horrible.
Yeah. Well,
that's what's going to happen.
Well, you don't have the same quandary as well. It's not like you open up a Legacy deck and
not exactly the same thing.
You're not sad, Dave.
It's the same reason. Like you start losing, it just kind of gets really hard then to try and just keep playing on.
Yeah.
Whereas you just do your best.
Yeah. I think my limit for how much I'd open would be like 300-400.
Shiny penny.
Be more shiny penny. Genuinely, if it was just like a bob, I'd be like, yeah, I had a good run.
Also, I know this is very negligible, but the feel goods of shipping someone a Tarmogoyf. Have you ever got the feel goods? You're like, it's like a gift you're giving to someone else.
No, absolutely not. In the last limited format I played was M15, and I opened a pool that was like 12 removal spells. This really tight, excellent black-red deck. It was awesome, and it had 3 lightning strikes in it. I was like, this deck is insane. Whoever gets this should go 8-0. And then I passed it to someone who's terrible and went, I believe it was 2-4. And I was just like, and I got past a completely unplayable pool. And I was just like, this is the sadness. This is the very real sadness.
I argue with people, a lot of people don't go to GPs because of that as well. But I think the percentages of getting a bad pool are so low. Like they're as low as getting bad matchups repeatedly in standard, I think. But this is an argument you could do all day, because you could also get bad matchups in limited. I think it just comes down to enjoying it. I think people who don't enjoy limited sometimes hide behind the I'm likely to not get a playable pool thing, because people who don't enjoy limited don't see grey pools. They don't see their 7 out of 10s or their 6 out of 10s.
Well,
every pool to them is 9 or 0.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying for the high. Like, I don't mind, I'll play it and whatever, but for the more competitive limited players, if I was that competitive in a limited environment, I'd like to think I'm fairly competitive in a standard environment, but if I was really competitive in a limited format, I just know if I open either a bad or mediocre pool, even a 7 out of 10, I'm just probably not going to get through to the top 8 or even day 2. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you have to have an exceptional pool to get to day 2, and I just don't like that about limited format.
I wouldn't agree, but I can see why people would
feel
say
that.
I just force 5 colour in limited all
in
the
every
time.
format, absolutely.
You watch Marchand play much?
I think he got it from me.
You're saying one of the best limited players we had in Dublin got it from you?
No. Anytime I've seen Marston play, I've never actually seen him draft with the 5 colour deck. Like I've drafted about 5 times over the past
I don't think
3 years.
It's an over exaggeration. He has. Before,
I've seen him draft like 2 or 3
splashes.
times. Yeah.
Outrageous splashes.
Yeah.
And he gets it every time, pulls it off.
I was on once at a pre-release where he opened a very good deck and we were discussing it, and all of a sudden at the end of his pile of cards before he saw his lands was something pledge conifers. I can't remember. 2 white, 3 white. Sorry, only 3 white. Make 5/1/1s and you could kick it for like.
Oh, you could kick it and destroy all other creatures.
No, that's Martial Q. It's just you can kick it for 5 mana and you make 10 guys instead.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think I know the one you're talking about.
But splashing.
Splashing triple white.
Yeah, because it comboed with 2 of his other cards. He's like, if I cast it, it's a bomb. I'm like, if you get 3 planes on it. I won't say what I offered him, but it didn't happen.
Marston's excellent. I love him. He was on the Irish team that got us to, 9th place at Worlds 2 years ago.
It's not first, it's last.
Sound, Dave. See, what have you done lately?
I had this really good sandwich today.
It was excellent.
It was excellent.
So yeah, we're still waiting. It's 8:15, man. Where's our round 2?
Apparently I lied. There was actually 2 matches still going.
These rounds need to be timed. This is going to be the longest.
No, it was timed. It just, what happened was because of the mix-up, no one actually ever called time.
Jeez.
So like what I thought was the last match actually wasn't, because I thought the other 2 guys were just finished.
You're just going to have to listen to the smooth sounds of me and Eamon Jones.
I'm going to take a quick step out and grab a little something. So you just keep talking. I'll get the names of whoever's playing and I'll come back.
Sure. So you are just left with me for a few minutes. Yeah, it seems to be a very slow format. I think going to GP, a lot of people are going to expect to be going the full 50 with extra turns in this. I wouldn't be surprised if you told me a couple of these games are coming down to milling, everyone's threats just exchanging with each other, and nothing being left. It's been interesting walking around the room and seeing different people's pools and seeing how people have evaluated the format, how fast and slow they think it is. So there's some people out there that have their crushers and their artisans and their normal decks and are expecting to naturally get to 8 or 9 mana. So a lot of people, like you saw Dan and his opponent Niall on 5 colour good stuff, just knowing that there isn't really those decks with good curves and tricks and bounce that can really punish them, that their card quality is so high that they can just take over the game as long as they stabilize and hit their mana. The bounce lands really add to this as well. It makes the format, I think anyway, a bit slower, but I really want to see, hopefully on camera today, someone see if that tempo orientated deck is possible. Here we have Adam Alexander. Adam, how did you do?
How's it going? I lost round 1. I lost to a Karn, that Exalted Lifelink Angel, and an Ulmox Crusher, and an Oblivion Ring.
Yeah, the card quality is just super high.
Yeah,
on
it's
the
insane.
high end in this format. Like we were saying, we had Dan Gilligan there on camera, and while his deck overall I thought was good, overall good, maybe a 7 out of 10. Like some of his bombs, like he has overwhelming Stampede, and that's probably that's a 10.
That's a good card.
That's one of the best rares in the format. Like I was just saying to the audience there that it's really interesting. I'd really like to see on camera someone just have not an aggro deck, because I'm not a fan of aggro and sealed, but just hard curve tempo. Eamon was talking about maybe this blue-white skies decks out there, or black-blue skies
there is
decks.
like the white deck has the Sunlance Ascari and the double strike flyer with where if you have some sort of like a champ boost or like might leaps and things like that.
And Glinthawks even.
Glinthawk is a very good card in any form.
So we have
Paddy Lawler.
Paddy and Graham.
Yeah.
Paddy and Graham. Ryder's here.
Paddy's playing a deck I'm calling 4-color Miss Norn.
Yeah.
Oh, Paddy's deck was very strong. A lot of removal, splashing for Alish Norn.
Splashing double white.
For Alish Norn.
Yeah.
So 4-color Miss Norn, and I have no idea what Graham is playing. I think he's playing some sort of band.
I'm pretty sure he's a fan of dragons, red green dragons.
Let's see if we can get a shot.
I think he was going with some sort of band deck last time I checked.
He definitely has the planes in there.
So I'll double check now.
Just look with your round.
I got a buy.
You got a buy, so well done.
Good luck with that.
Victory.
Yeah, I got a glimpse of Paddy's deck. Was talking to him about it in a couple of the cards he couldn't have had in it. Interesting conversation is: do you play Dismember? Is the format so slow? Is Dismember in every one of your seal decks when you open it?
Yes.
By the looks of some of the decks being built and the decks that are good here, I think so.
Yeah. I'm going to, my opinion of it is
Graham's playing Bant Affinity.
Bant Affinity.
Awesome, I like that.
You got quite a few nice affinity cards, like Cranium Plate and Court Homunculus.
Yeah, the affinity is
like that,
Affinity's mostly blue-white, so he's going to be splashing green. I'm going to be interested to see what he's splashing for.
I think he's heavy green.
Heavy green?
Yeah, heavy green with like a Noble Hierarch and some other stuff.
This will be interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
like mutagenic growths, rampant growths.
Sure.
Okay. Stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
The thing with the thing that's really scary about the affinity deck, we don't know if he has the good one. We'll see now. We don't have a deck list, but if you have the good affinity deck, it seems nigh unbeatable, you know? If you got a bunch of Mirror Enforcers and the Somber Hover Guards and
Champion
and Cranial Plating and stuff like that, it seems really hard to beat. There's also a bunch of these living artifacts, like the Grey Ogre.
I forgot they put Cranial Plating in this.
Yeah, they have Cranial Plating. Now, again, in Sealed, in general, you're not happy to see a Cranial Plating because you usually don't have enough cards to
But sometimes you do. Sometimes you just have it and you're like, cool.
Yeah. So...
But you know, that is kind of why I'm not a big fan of Sealed, because it's just like, okay, cool. I just opened the nut.
I'm still a big fan of it. Like the times that you're going to actually, that's why I'm very interested to see Graham's deck here. The times you actually get to play that affinity deck are low. So Graham won the roll here. We couldn't see if he's chose to play or draw. So he seems to have a hand here with Citadel. He's counting his lands, I think, audibly there. Not something I advise people to do.
3 colours with Citadel in.
He must be heavy affinity. Those platings must be very good in this deck. He has 3 or 4 lands here. I think I see Alloy Mirror as well. And I think he's choosing whether to keep or not. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, what we might look at doing as well is depending on how quickly this round goes, or if we can get another one, we might get maybe the winner of this one to lay out their deck and kind of explain some of their choices.
We can have a talk. We can definitely go out and interview one of these guys.
Yeah, because I really, with Sealed, especially with a new format, I really love to hear people's thought process. Paddy plays a lot of limited, and so that's going to be the Dark Steel Axe, the fixed Skull Splitter.
Bone Splitter.
Bone Splitter. Yeah. I always mess up the name of that card.
Graham takes a draw here, thinking of his second land drop.
Yeah.
It's an island. He has a mana leak here he can hold open. I don't see if he has another 2-drop to think about.
Yeah.
Well, he is thinking, so...
Must be a 2-drop.
Just passing.
I think it's like card to the front. It's a foil one, so it's kind of harder to see. So yeah, Paddy just not as aggressive as we first thought, but I mean that I feel like that axe is going to do a lot of work.
I don't know. Again, this is from playing the set it originally was in. I disliked it, and that axe was a big point of contention between players. Was it good or not? The point is, in very aggressive decks it is, but it doesn't give it a toughness boost, which means that 2-drops can still trade with 2-drops, 3-drops can still trade with 3-drops.
Sure.
And he is in red-green, where you traditionally don't have a lot of flyers.
Yeah.
So, like, you're not putting out an evasion, guys, but...
And here we have the mana leak. It's the 2/2 for 3 mana with Bloodthirst 1 or 2. Bloodthirst 2.
I would read the card if I were Graham before tapping my mana like that, but
yeah,
little things, you know. Mana leak means keeping Paddy's board empty, and this game pretty slow like the other one we've seen so far.
There's got to be as well that feeling of...
Oh, that's not an ally mirror, sorry, that's a Mirror Enforcer in Graham's hand. Mirror Enforcer.
Which right now costs 6 mana.
Only
due
6.
to affinity.
4 mana for Graham, and a Fairy Mechanist.
So it's look at the top 3 cards of your library? No, it's look at, not reveal.
Showing
it off.
Either way. If he doesn't take the plating here, he's a master.
He's an absolute genius.
Psych him out, but I think it's the cranial plating.
Yeah, I believe it's a Mighty Leap as well. He was at Plains and a Mighty Leap, which is pretty interesting. Really going deep on those pump spells.
Yeah, it's always hard in these slow formats to evaluate how good the pump spells are. Depends on your deck. We get a little of a glimpse of what's it called, Dragon's Bane, the fireball in this set, something Bane,
Demon Bane.
Demon Bane. I can't remember. The X red spell are rare in this.
And if X is greater than 5, it can't be countered. So it's going to beat that mana leak. That is that a Tumble Magnet?
No, that's the spider, the Aqua Spitter, is that its name? 2
oh,
mana,
the
2/2
graft
spider.
Sure.
He gives reach for 1, I think. I think for 1 green he gives reach, and Graham giving him a read here as well.
Yeah. So it's going to be pretty decent. Do you trade with the Mechanist?
Probably for sure. You've seen a cranial plating go into your opponent's hand.
Sure.
You're getting rid of an evasion guy, and you're getting rid, and you're lowering the affinity count for the plating.
Sure. Paddy's also stuck on land, which is pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, missed his 4th land drop there.
It's 2 to equip the Dark Steel Axe, isn't it? Or is it 1?
I'm not sure. I think it's 2. So affinity up to 3 here, and we got a plating.
Yeah. Cannot equip the plating right now, but that's fine because I don't know if he would want to attack. Is he going to trade? It looks like he is.
Yeah.
Paddy's just like, this is reach, you know, and Graham goes, yeah, I know. That's fine.
If I were Graham, I think I would have played my spell second. Now Paddy is incentivized not to block, so Graham can't get a plating hit in next turn. Where if he would have done this play the other way around, that skimmer would be getting in for 4 or 5 damage if he wanted next turn. Play your attack before you play your spells is the rule of thumb in general, but that's okay. He still gets 2 for 2, and looks like Paddy's going to miss a 4th land drop again.
Is that a little cheeky by Paddy though, to be like, you know, this has reach, by the way, right? maybe. You gotta game people sometimes. You know? Yeah. I completely agree with that. A lot of the go-to phrase is that Magic is poker and chess. Wow, this that's the Bone Splicer, is it, or what's it called?
Not sure of his name. It's a 3 mana for a living weapon. That's a 2/2.
Yeah.
Solid. I think.
Equipped for 4.
I think my deck quality would have to be pretty high for me not to just be playing this in my deck every time. Like, it's just. I see these living weapons as kind of card advantage, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Maybe not the 1 mana 1/1. Maybe that's not good enough unless you have the guy that searches for equipments, but this card for sure, I don't think I'm leaving it out of my sealed deck the majority of the time. So Graham has some choices here. I am not sure if that spider has to pay to get reach. I think it does.
Yeah, I believe it does. I believe it's like pay 1 mana.
Oh, also he
put a grafted on, so he's got a 3/3
he
reach.
grafted for the...
So I believe it does cost 1 green to activate. A lot of these graft cards are kind of formatted similar. We saw the Helium Squirter. You do have to pay 1 colorless in order to give a creature with 1/1 counter on it flying. With the Frog, you have to pay a green and a blue to give a creature with a 1/1 counter on it Shroud, a creature you control, I believe. So yeah, we can see here Graham wants to get that Etched Monstrosity out. Or not Etched Monstrosity, but Mirror Enforcer. This is the new art for it as well, which is pretty cool. So that is a 7-mana 4/4 with affinity for artifacts. Affinity means for every artifact you have on the field, it costs 1 less to play. So it looks like Graham actually miscounted. He only had to pay... Mirror Enforcer is 7 mana, right?
Mirror Enforcer is indeed 7 mana.
Yeah, so he actually only had to pay 3 mana. Because he forgot the Darksteel Citadel is an artifact.
Ooh, he has a Lodestone. Not Lodestone. Something Stone Golem. It's hard to keep up with those. No, Lodestone is the 4 mana 5/4.
Yeah, I thought he...
No, that's the... He is a 4 mana 2/2, and you can tap an untapped artifact you control to give him +2/+2. And I think he might have Trample.
It's interesting.
It's interesting that Graham hasn't decided to equip here and for the swing, but I think he's just developing his
It's because he miscounted. I think now he's realizing oh, it only cost me 3 mana to cast this, so I can actually use the extra mana I had floating and equip it.
Oh, that isn't the Enforcer he hasn't played though.
Is it? No, it is. It's the new art.
No, that's the Golem I described. It's a 4 mana 2/2. Tap an untapped artifact you control to give it +2/+2.
Okay.
And I think it might have Trample. Or I think it might at least gain Trample. Either way, it seems very good with the cranial plating. And he now has 5 artifacts in play, including his Citadel.
So his Mirror Enforcer is going to cost 2 mana.
His Mirror Enforcer is costing 2. More important, those flyers are getting +5 attack.
Graham, a man after my own heart, drinking the Iron Brew.
Yeah, that's...
Drink of the gods.
That's good for you.
It is. But yeah, I mean...
Paddy finally hitting his 4th land this turn. We can see he has the Bloodthirst Minotaur in hand.
What's your feeling on the fact that Paddy was missing out on land drops, of kind of forcing the issue, starting to swing in, making him trade off in a way where you know that you've got to follow up? And now I know it makes the...
Well, now it's impossible.
Yeah.
There might have been an argument for that last turn because he couldn't block. Oh, well, this is the reason. As we discussed that, this is the reason why. He's giving an additional counter to all his guys. He's making the Spider into a 2/2 again. He's making the weapon into a 4/4. This probably picks him back up in the game. He still can't attack though. Oh, did he miss his trigger?
It looks like it.
Oh, I think Paddy's missed his trigger here.
He might just be playing it as a 4/4, and like I said, Paddy's a pretty experienced limited player, and just sometimes you miss these things.
Yeah, it happens. Maybe I think the card does something different than it does. But I thought it put counters on everything that already had a counter on it. He has no attacks either because this Golem can tap itself to make itself a 4/4 as far as I know.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, so he had 6 points of blocking there on the Golem and just stops attacks. And in Mirrodin, when he was around, he was very good card in limited. So I can imagine he's equally as good in draft here. Like,
yeah.
Maybe not over the top uncommons, but he'd be up there. Oh, and a blinding... Jeez, I should have learned the name of these cards.
Soul Eater.
Soul Eater?
Yeah. It is 1 white Phyrexian mana.
And you can tap a guy.
Yeah, Phyrexian mana, for people who don't know, it is any of the coloured mana, but you can instead pay 2 life. For example, a great one is Cataxian Probe, which is 1 blue Phyrexian mana, so it could be a free spell.
So, what Graham should do here is probably move the plating over to either the Fairy, where it's free damage because he has to pay to give his guys reach, or to the Golem, where he can... Okay, deciding to give his guy flying, which is the same as putting on the Mechanist, which is fine. But you can also just put it to the Golem and only attack with the Golem, and then tap 1, 2, 3, 4 other artifacts to give him +8. That might actually be a lethal swing if Paddy hadn't blocked.
Yeah.
8.
No, it wouldn't have been...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 artifacts in play plus an 8 pump from... Yeah, that's a lethal swing unless Paddy blocks with multiple things.
Okay.
I have to check. Maybe I'm wrong about this card having trample, but I'm pretty sure you can see the little keyword trample there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I believe so. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's really interesting with these new formats that are... I feel like this might be deeper than the last Modern Masters.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but...
maybe that column only says tap artifact creature, but I'm pretty sure it just says tap artifact.
If it does, it's pretty excellent.
Which makes it pretty good with the Citadel.
Yeah, absolutely.
As well.
When your Citadel gets to say pump target creature, that's...
Well, pump it.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it says anything besides tap for 1 mana. Awesome. So he's Ben firing that one because he doesn't want to... Yeah, he's.
Graham missing the trick. See, this is again, he hasn't played the old Mirren format. Whenever your opponent kills one of that guys, you're definitely tapping it for the golem. I know it's inconsequential, but if Paddy had had an attack there instead, you might be regretting not giving your guy +2.
He might not realise as well, some of the players, that whenever another card says tap target creature, or tap a creature you control, you can do it even when they're summoning sick.
Yes, this is true. So here again, I think Graham's line is put the cranial plating on his trampling big golem.
Swing in, pump him a bunch.
Don't attack with anything else, have it all as pump fodder. Instead, oh no, he is moving it. He sees the play.
Okay.
He can't attack with his flyers here because the 4/4 can just gain reach and munch them. So just attacking with the golem, and it leaves Paddy with some very bad blocks. Like, he can block with all his guys, but he will lose all his guys in combat here.
And then Graham is just left with a cranial plating and a mirror enforcer.
And other guys, yeah. Like, you're tapping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 artifacts to get +10 here.
Yeah.
And you're already giving +5 from the...
Do you know what's awesome? He gets to tap the cranial plating. It's so good.
I'm pretty sure. I might have to check the wording on the card here.
It seems very strange, but yeah, do.
But I think it's just tap artifact. But if not, like, even +6 from his artifact creatures.
Still huge.
And +1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and +6 from the cranial plating is enough to take out all of Paddy's team.
I think as well to play, some people missed it. I do it too frequently as well, is you do not tap out everything at once. You activate the ability once every time with each individual thing, because what can happen is if you put all of the abilities on the stack, all of the tap ones, they can
shock gets you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's for sure. It's something you learn to do. People shortcut a bit too much.
Yeah.
How I word it is just ask my opponent, I'm going to pump each time individually.
Yeah.
And then just do it 5 times and ask them if they want to stop at a point. You're giving away a bit of information sometimes, but here we go. Paddy knowing, like, the guy has trample, he has to stick the team in front of him. I think Paddy has taken 2 hits off flyers down to at least 16.
Yeah, I mean,
as far as we know. And this guy is getting +12 and he's already a 2/2. That's 14.
This is actually the other side that people have kind of pointed out. Because most of Graham's deck is colourless, this Bant, his lands being all over the place, is fine. It's completely fine.
It seems that he just has a bit of colour for, like, Bant, as in white activates his tapper and blue activates his skimmer, and, you know.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm like...
Also, if Graham has a bounce or a removal spell here, it is huge.
Yeah.
It is huge. Like, he might be able to set up not even a trade happening.
If he Vapor Snags... Okay, it
tapping
looks...
3 guys to pump, tapping a 4th artifact to pump. Yeah, it's just artifacts.
And now he's asking, can I tap the cranial plating? Paddy, like, yes, you can. The card is super value.
This card is just as good as it was in Mirrored and Block, and it was stupid.
And there's a mutagenic growth.
The game's over. That card is just as good as it was in
awesome. That was super cool.
Yeah, he's very good. And, like, Paddy playing, I know he was stuck in mana, but Paddy playing a premium uncommon there.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. I just want to check something.
As well, one of the funny things I found was people, when they were talking about this artifact deck, they were saying, I don't know how good this artifact deck could be in Limited, because there's no Memnite, there's no... I don't think there's Frogmite either. They're just like, they just left out some of the key players of this artifact deck, and it's just like, they swapped them around. I think they took a look at kind of... Because those cards were good in certain constructed formats. But, like, for example, Frogmite was just one of the best things in the Affinity artifact deck back in Mirren, and then they just kind of went, but what's the good limited cards? What are the excellent limited cards? And now we just saw that Golem there is just huge. It's excellent. I think the cranial plating is just doing a lot of work as well. But yeah, I mean, that Golem in Graham's dedicated deck, especially one that's this focused in a sealed pool, is excellent. It's really good. Graham is one of our players. He's, like I said, he's 3rd in the standings for the standard. He is often seen playing dragons. He loves the dragons and any of the big green ramp things. Sometimes he deviates to playing Abzan if he can, but every time he's like, no, I think I just want to play some ramp spells, some little mana dorks, and then just play a big massive creature that you can't deal with.
Yeah, so I wasn't wrong about the Root King. Unfortunately, Paddy missed his trigger to add. And you know, that was huge in the end. Like, Graham got to trample through with that mutagenic growth. Now Graham's winning that game. Oh, there's some money in the sideboard at A-line, just... but Graham was winning that game.
Yeah.
Some interesting cards in Graham's sideboard. He has an Arrest.
He has 2 What are
the one mana
the
1/1s, yeah, which could be interesting his deck, but more so he's in white and he has an arrest chilling out in the sideboard
and just not playing it.
Brave man, braver than I.
We might have to have a word with him and just be like, no, arrest's really good when you play that.
If Graham wins this, it'll be interesting to have a look over his deck and see his thoughts on it.
Yeah, I was talking about how people were kind of a bit questioning about the dedicated artifact deck, but yeah, so it was just like really interesting to see how that deck. I'd actually love to do a kind of a one-for-one comparison of what the artifact enablers were in the old Modern Masters and what they are now, because people are kind of complaining they took out the Frogmites, they took out the
Frogmite's still there.
Okay, great. They took out Memnite and some other cards.
See, the problem I had, where people got confused with this, and they did in drafting as well, is they thought that Frogmite was a good card.
Yeah.
Like, you can go all in and you can take 5 Frogmites and 5 Mirror Enforcers. Frogmite was an actively bad card.
Yeah.
A lot of time he's a 2-mana 2/2 and that's fine, that's a bear. You have to work for your card to be a bear. Sometimes he was free and it didn't really matter. You were doing all this work and playing some subpar artifacts to get a 2/2. What you want is Mirror Enforcers on Mirror Enforcers on Mirror Enforcers. In fact, the artifact team might even be better in this set, which the Hoverguard, the 6-mana Hoverguard, is extremely good. If you ever get to pay less than 4 mana for him,
he's awesome.
He is broken. When you also have stuff like Mortarpod.
Yes.
Which is all the living weapons go so well into the affinity team.
I like I was saying, I think they swapped around some of the cards and just made this a more solid limited deck. I felt like there was a lot of cards that were put in because they were good and constructed. Now they just made better limited cards. I was actually really interested. An idea I had for a cube was all of these cards that were kind of unplayable and constructed, but broken and limited. Like the M15 card that makes 3 spirits with Convoke. What's her name? The Black Vampire one from Rise of Eldrazi. Just all of these cards that were broken.
It's a cool idea. The slight problem with it, most of those cards would be really cool to have in a cube. Some of them are only broken in a vacuum. So the Vampire from Rise would still be very good in any limited format. Would still be a good cube choice in general. But she was especially broken because there were only 2 non-rare removal spells that could kill her. And they were premium, and they were taken first pick every time.
Okay.
So you didn't get them. And lots like Flame Slash was splashed. If you were in green, you were just taking the Flame Slash anyway.
Yeah.
So they barely ever moved past the first person that saw them.
Sure.
So she was very hard to deal with in that way. And like the other premium cards in this set, like Narcolepsy, which is also in this set, just tapped her, you could still eat his whole team.
Yeah.
Well, here we go, and we'll see if Paddy chose to go on the player draw.
Is that an Etch Monstrosity he has? He's just playing a 5-mana 5/5.
Yeah, I think Etch Monstrosity is an excellent open in this format because you are always going to play him.
Yeah.
Graham going to 6 here.
Yeah. This is actually something I'm really interested in, is how much is the colours affecting his, what we saw was mostly colourless deck.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I haven't seen what coloured cards he's chose to play besides the abilities. I thought I saw a Gathering Seed? The 5-mana
Sprouting Seeds.
Sprouting Seeds.
He has that.
I thought I saw that. I'm not sure. It's hard to recognise with the angle he sits.
Sure. That is a 2 green, 3 colourless. Is it sorcery? Yeah.
It might be. I think it's instant.
Wow. With Convoke, and it's put 3/1/1 Saplings onto the battlefield. Again,
another card that might on face value only look okay, but in its limited format was excellent. Probably one of the best commons.
Yeah, I think that there's a huge amount of enablers for the.
Oh, and another one.
Sorry, it's not Demon Fire, it's Banefire.
Banefire, yeah.
You're absolutely right. What am I talking about? But yeah, I feel like they might have really pushed the green-white tokens deck, but it's one of those decks where you're probably more going to get it in draft than sealed.
Well, the big news is the Scion. Apparently the Scion is excellent.
Yeah, they put a rare to uncommon. Like, I mean, that's really got to make you look at it, what it can do.
Well, he's common.
Yeah, I know, that's what I said.
No.
Going from rare to common is just crazy. So it's really interesting.
And in more important news, that affects the Pauper.
Oh yeah,
online.
Does it?
Yeah, there's like two cards that got moved from rares and uncommons to commons in this set.
Did they have a huge effect?
And both of them are. Well, they don't know yet. There hasn't been many of. This isn't out online yet, but they think it will. So let's see how his 5 is.
Yep. Yeah, and like you said,
Paddy with a mountain and a passing of the turn.
Yeah.
Graham starting with Forest. Forest tapped.
Forest coming to play tap now. Is that how?
Can we see a play? Oh, thinking about it. No 1-drop.
No 1-drop.
What could have he played for 1 that he's deciding to sandbag?
So Yeah, now here's the interesting thing. Paddy has Boros Garrison, which is the Karoo land. So he... does Paddy not have to drop a card? No, he doesn't, because he was on the play.
Yeah, he was on the play. It's fine here.
Yeah.
In fact, it's perfect.
Yeah.
And it's one of the reasons why you cannot go on the draw, no matter how slow this format is.
Absolutely. I don't... Like, even when, what was it, the M14, the really slow format, people are like, you always go on the play because the draw is more important. Or you go on the draw because it's really important. I'm like, how important is it? Now, what card is that he played?
It's the guy that gains double strike for green and a black, I think.
Sure, it's the Jund guy, yeah.
I think he's like a 2/2 and he can gain double strike.
Yeah.
Not just a bear here, but or he might even be a 1/1. I'm not too sure. But Paddy in all the colours. So here's what I'm talking about. Frogmite, like he's just
a guy.
Graham's payoff for his affinity count has been a bear.
Yeah,
and it's fine and it's probably playable. It's just it's not actually what the affinity decks in this format want to be doing. Yeah. They want to get that
Mirror Enforcers.
They want to get cranial platings and mirror enforcers. They want to get cranial platings and flyers and mirror enforcers in play. And that would be very powerful. It probably makes cranial plating a risky first pick, but a first pick in this format.
Yeah, I remember in the last format, I got to completely sweep the board with an entire artifact deck. I was cutting artifacts, and at first I was playing Frogmite because that was one of those cards I heard a lot about in constructed formats as being an excellent card.
Yeah.
And then I was like, actually, this is terrible. This is a terrible card in limited.
The clue is that the current affinity deck in Modern could play Frogmites
and doesn't,
and they would always be 0 mana.
Yeah.
And chooses not to.
Yeah, just doesn't do enough. So yeah, we can see the ramp here. So he
into blue doesn't get his
so